They moved in, but then he checked out.
You can't just pack up your bags and move out. Did you both sign the lease?
Yes, we did.
Your Honor, I just fed up with it. I don't feel I should have...
Just say yes.
Nah, I don't feel it's right.
Show Mr. Bartelli this witnessed signature.
It's your signature?
Yeah, but I don't remember signing it.
Judge Judy.
Oh, this is going to be hard. Former live-in boyfriend, and according to your complaint, he owes you a whole bunch of money. He owes you some money for rent. He owes you some money for some court costs that you laid out for him. You want him to pay for new tires for your car. All in all, you're really annoyed with him. I gather that Mr. Bartelli moved out unceremoniously with no notice. Is that right, sir?
I feel I don't owe her the money.
No. You moved out unceremoniously, which means that you didn't have a discussion with her, you didn't sit down and talk to her, you just packed up your things, you decided you had enough, and you just left.
Your Honor, I just fed up with it. I don't feel I should have...
Just say yes. Just say yes. That's what you said here.
Nah, I don't feel it's right.
Oh, this is going to be harder than I thought. I'm going to get to you in a second. All right, Miss Starling. I have to see if I'm playing now with a level playing field. Here we go, because I haven't asked you a question yet. When did you and Mr. Bartelli move into this apartment that you shared?
In October of 2003. No.
Had you lived together before?
Yes.
And when you moved into this apartment, did you both sign the lease?
Yes, we did.
Can
I
I
have
see
a copy of that?
I don't think I didn't sign the lease.
Oh, take me back to the family court, please. Okay, so, Mr. Bartelli, it is your statement, sir, that you did not sign the lease. Is that, you did not sign the lease?
I don't remember signing the lease.
Ah, that's a different thing. Shut up. I believe you said I didn't sign no lease. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And that was a quote, because that was bad grammar. Now you say I don't remember signing the lease. Is that right, sir?
Yeah.
So then, Officer Byrd, would you please show Mr. Bartelli this witnessed signature on the lease?
It's your signature?
Yeah, but I don't remember signing it.
Mr. Bartelli?
You just don't remember.
Mr. Bartelli, that's possible that you don't remember signing it.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean you didn't sign it.
See, me and Miss Starling were together, and she sent roses and flowers to my office trying to get us back together. Then whenever I didn't reply to that, she took and sent me court papers.
Miss Starling, I don't want to hear from you. I want him. He's dying to say this. So you know what my sense is? If I let him say this maybe once, maybe he'll get it out of his system so that when I ask him questions, he'll give me a relevant answer. All right? So, Mr. Bartelli, go to it.
Excuse me?
All I said to you was, sir, the fact that you don't remember signing it is belied by the fact that you did actually sign it in front of a witness. And you started to tell me about flowers and candy that she sent you. And I didn't see how those two things were connected in any way.
Well, me and Miss Starling used to drink, and we quit drinking. We moved to Orlando, and she had lost her job, and her son moved in with us. So I feel I don't owe the money because I had to pay that money. And then she started drinking. That's why I left. And then when I left, she started sending flowers and stuff to my job, and then I didn't comply to that, and she sent me court papers.
Now he got it all out of his system, right? That's your whole story, and you're sticking to it,
I feel
right?
I don't owe the money.
That's your story, and you're sticking to it.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Now we have to go do this my way, which is collect information, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I have to make a ruling on her lawsuit. Do you understand, Mr. Bartelli?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of work do you do, sir?
I do carpentry work.
Okay. Which I assume you understand very well.
Mm-hmm.
Good. This is what I understand. I understand evidence. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you signed a lease on the apartment in October of 2003. And when did he move out?
April 3rd, 2004.
Now, you moved out, sir, because according to what you said in your mentally prepared statement, She started to drink again. You didn't want to live with her anymore.
Yeah.
So you want to tell me whether you discussed moving out, or you didn't discuss moving out, or you just packed your bags one day and left?
I just packed my bag and left.
If you just packed your bags one day and left, sir, you are still responsible, at least partially, on this lease. You signed a lease, obligating yourself to pay half the rent for a period of time. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Now, why do you think that you shouldn't be held responsible for at least paying the rent until such time as she can secure someone else that she wants to live with, if that's at all possible?
Well, I feel I didn't ask her for money whenever she had lost her job and her son had moved in with us, and I didn't ask for money back for that. So why should I have to pay that?
How much were you supposed to pay in rent, Mr. Bartelli?
The rent's $1,000 a month.
So your half was $500?
Mm-hmm.
And how did you expect her to cover the other $500 a month for the remainder of the lease?
Yeah, but see, I didn't ask her for money for the electric and food and stuff like that.
I paid her. Oh. Okay. All right. Now, you also claim that you helped him out when he was arrested a while ago by giving him $500 to pay for some bad checks that he had written. And Mr. Bartelli, you don't deny that you had gotten yourself into some criminal trouble.
No, I don't deny, but see, all of our money was in together.
No.
She might have paid that, but I paid this.
Listen!
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So is what you're telling me, after you wrote this series of bad checks, you decided to open up a joint checking account with you?
No way.
Yeah, just a savings. I just got a savings.
And later today,
I reached back and pulled the chair up so I could sit down. He had pulled that chair, and I fell down, and I yelled, "Philip, why did you move that chair?" He laughed.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Diane Starling says ex-boyfriend Frank Bartelli owes for unpaid rent and a loan for tires. Frank says he and Diane shared their money.
Let me remind you what you said, sir, in your answer. You said, I don't deny that she gave me the money for these bad checks.
Yeah.
How did you pay her back for the jail bail money?
Well, she had borrowed the money from her brother. And like I said, we worked and all of her money was in one bank account. So she might have took the money out to pay that, but we took my money out to pay other bills. So all of her money was in the same account.
But you said that she borrowed that $500 from her brother.
Yeah, she paid her brother.
So if she borrowed that $500 from her brother, did you pay her brother back the $500?
Yeah, she sent checks to her brother.
She sent her checks to her brother for the $500.
Mm-hmm.
And the $500 was coming out of a bank account that you both pooled your money for household expenses. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
No, everything.
What's everything?
All of her money was in the same account. My whole check gets deposited, and hers did too.
Well, was this bad check money an expense that you anticipated?
No, this is all of her money was in the same account.
Try to listen to what I'm saying, Mr. Bartelli. When you wrote the bad checks, did you know you were going to have to pay them back?
Yes.
So why did you write them?
At the time, I didn't have no money, I didn't have a choice.
So it was always your intention to pay back the money for the bad checks, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
In what year did you write the bad checks?
2002.
And when did they finally catch up with you?
2003.
On what checking account did you write the bad checks?
That was out of my checking account.
Why didn't you use your joint account that you had with her?
Because we didn't have that account at that time.
So is what you're telling me, after you wrote this series of bad checks, you decided to open up a joint checking account with you?
No way.
Yeah, just a savings. I just got
no
a savings. I just got a savings account. She got a
So you
checking
didn't have a joint checking account?
No.
No.
Please.
All right. Now let's get to the tires. He used your truck, and after he left, you found the tires needed to be replaced.
They were bald.
They were
With
bald.
wires
Well,
showing
that's
this
your
much.
fault. Listen, Diane, darling, you let him use the truck, right?
Right. I didn't
How
notice they
long-
were so bad.
Listen to me. Well, you should have noticed. Mr. Bartelli, I know that you don't feel as if you owe Miss Starling any money, but you do. You can't just decide that you are fed up and pack up your bags and move out, because that's immature and it's irresponsible, and it's sticking someone else with a big obligation that they didn't anticipate paying by themselves. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So you owe her $2,500 for the rent. She also helped you out by borrowing money from her brother, and you didn't pay her back. Despite all your speeches, you didn't pay her back. So I'm entering a judgment in the plaintiff's favor in the amount of $3,000. Do the right thing, Mr. Bartelli, that's all.
Party's
Thank
always
you.
sweet. You may step out.
I think it went very well. I'm glad that Mr. Bartelli is being held accountable for what he did to me.
She just upset because I left her.
Well, I wanted to ask him to step outside, but he was too small.
She just left messages begging me to come back, and I wouldn't do it.
I missed him. He was a good guy, basically.
I hope we can be friends.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Elliott versus Worsham, step forward, please.
Plaintiff Sheila Elliott is suing casino owner Ken Worsham for pain and suffering due to an accident in his casino. Sheila says she fell to the ground when a worker removed a chair from underneath her during a game of Texas Hold'em.
Mr. Worsham, do you operate a casino? Is that what you do?
Yes,
Where is the casino?
Sacramento.
According to what I've read, Miss Elliott, you were playing some sort of a game, Texas Poker?
Texas Hold'em.
Texas Hold'em. I'm trying to figure out how this game was played, but I gather that there are 10 players to start with. Is that right, sir?
Normally there's 9.
And when one person leaves, they take away that spot, and it goes to fewer people and fewer people, almost like musical chairs. Miss Elliott was playing this Texas Hold'em, and according to you, you went to sit down, and one of the employees of the casino had removed the chair that you were going to sit on. Is that right?
At the time, the chair was there.
Well, when you went to sit down, the chair wasn't there.
Yeah, when I went to sit down, it was gone.
And you fell.
Yes.
And you want Mr. Worsham
Worsham.
to pay you $5,000.
Yes.
What time did you start to play Texas Hold'em?
I started there early in the afternoon.
What date? Can we date?
On the 2nd
2nd of what?
of January.
And what time did this incident happen when you fell?
It happened like, to my recollection, I would say 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning.
Anybody have a different time and date?
Yes, it happened about 6:30 a.m. in the morning.
So she fell
Oh.
about 6:30 a.m. in the morning.
That's
How do you
correct.
know that, sir?
We had a tape of it, of the incident.
And that's what the tape indicates?
Yes.
Okay. Is that possible?
No, it happened before then. Now, what his tape is showing, it could be. I didn't see this tape. I asked to see the tape.
That's not what I asked you. I
Okay.
said, could it have been at 6:30?
No, I believe it was before 6:30.
Who was the employee who was moving around the chairs?
Judge, you may be seated.
Miss Cronister, this is your son?
Yes,
He's 17 years old?
yes.
Have you ever had any trouble with him driving a car?
That was the first incident. He had only had his license for a month when this incident occurred.
Okay. What's your first name?
Corey.
So let's talk about this, Corey. Okay. According to your complaint, Mr. Wynn is a real nut. And he chased you in his car for no reason and caused you to have an accident. And after you had the accident and he caught up with you, he slammed his car into yours, causing damage to your car. So you had damage from the accident and you had damage from his car hitting yours.
Yeah.
And in addition, you say that he slammed the trunk of your car on your arm.
Yes, ma'am.
When you went to get a baseball bat out of the trunk of your car, and that caused you injury. All told, you want Mr. Wynn to compensate you in the amount of $2,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Wynn says that he was being a good Samaritan,
Yes, ma'am.
that he saw you involved in a hit-and-run accident. You took off after you hit something, and he was following you until he could get the police to apprehend you. So I'm going to start with you, Mr. Wynn. On what day were you being this good Samaritan?
June 30th, I believe it was.
April 30th.
April 30th. I'm sorry, excuse me.
And where were you going to, and where were you coming from?
I was coming home from work,
And what time of the day was it that you were coming home from work?
approximately 3:45, 10 to 4.
What kind of car were you driving?
I drive a 95 Dodge van. It's my work van, so I carry all my equipment and tools in it. It's a full-size van.
And what car were you driving, Corey?
95 Ford Taurus.
Whose car is that?
That was my car. It was in her name, but I was driving.
Who was with you?
3 of my friends were with me.
Did you ever have an agreement with your mother not to drive other people around in your car?
No, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Wynn. So you're driving down the road, and what do you see that draws your attention?
I was heading south on Blanding. He was coming north on Blanding. There was a white car. It was a good ways ahead of me, probably 100, 150 yards ahead of me.
Ahead of you?
Ahead of me.
So you're going in the opposite direction?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
He made the turn to go down Alligator, which is my road that I go down also. I seen him hit the back end of the white car. It wasn't real hard, but he did hit it and just took off. I mean, he just nailed it and went. The lady who was driving the other car, which I didn't stop, had pulled over, was getting out of the car as I rounded the corner, and I just stepped on it trying to catch up with the car, see if I could at least get the tag number. That's all my intention was, is to get the tag number. Being he's in a smaller car and I'm in a big van with a lot of tools and equipment, I couldn't keep up with that van, with the car.
My car is not a smaller car. It's not like a little bitty car. It's a big car. I could fit like probably 6 or 7 people in my car.
I'm not asking you that, Corey, dear.
Sorry.
Mrs. Cronister, you weren't there.
I know.
You weren't there. Does Mr. Wynn look like a nut to you?
No.
He does not. He doesn't look like a nut.
But I believe his behaviors throughout the thing were...
Just a second. He doesn't look like a nut.
No.
So if your son told you that he didn't hit this car, his son is lying to you.
My son never said he did not. He admitted to hitting the car, even to the police.
Good. So you hit this car.
Just now I bumped the car.
After you hit the car, what did you do?
On the alligator, the road that he was turning on, we stopped. The other car was going the other way, like we were in the median and we were coming across. We stopped and looked over, and then her car just kept going. So we just kept going. And then with this car, the van, we seen a van behind us. I started taking the turns to go to my house. They were like, "This van's following you." I said, "The van's following me?" They said, "Yeah, speed up." So
Did you, just a second, did you get out of your car to look and see if there was any damage on your car?
No, ma'am.
Why not? When you hit somebody, when you hit somebody and you're moving, that's what you do.
Yes, ma'am. It was a very slight bump, so I knew there was nothing wrong with the car.
Got it?
Yes.
Now, I can understand a woman in a car with 4 men in another car who's bumped, maybe not feeling comfortable about pulling to a complete stop, if that's what she says is happening. But that doesn't mean his first reaction isn't to get a plate number and then report it to the police. Right?
I had no disagreement with that. Right.
Fine. So he started following you. And
Yes,
then
ma'am.
what happened?
So they were like, "He's following you." So I took down a couple roads. I was still driving, just regular driving, and he kept following.
Now, you saw him immediately after you hit the white car.
No, man, I took a turn, and then they.
Why did you take a turn?
I never saw him. My friend said.
Why did you take a turn?
Because I was turning to go to my house. I just kept going. I didn't think nothing of it.
What street did you turn down?
It's just like a little dirt road that comes onto a alligator.
Do you know what street he's talking about?
No, ma'am, I had it written down, but I didn't. I apologize, I didn't bring it. But he turned down that one, he turned down several of them. As far as regular driving,
roads.
he was fishtailing.
You hit the white car, and how much later did you take a turn?
Probably 5 minutes. I mean, I had to go down Alligator a little
About
ways.
3 blocks.
3 blocks. Now, he's following you. You're 4 guys in a car. He's 1 guy in a van.
Well, we didn't know who. Like, I couldn't see inside his van. We didn't know anything about the van. We just knew that they kept saying he was following you. He's following you. So I said, okay, well, let's find out if he's following me. So I started turning down roads that I wasn't on my way to go home. And I just started down, turned him, and they were like, he's still there. I started looking in my rearview mirror. He's still there.
Why didn't you go down the road and go home and call the police?
Because my house was an hour away from there. I live a long way away from town.
Well, what about your friends? How close do they live?
They, I would have had...
Corey,
Yes,
Corey.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
As a very, very dear friend of mine says, everybody's entitled to their opinion. You have your opinion, I have my opinion. Ultimately, it's only my opinion that counts.
And later today...
So you went from her to her, back to her, is that right? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, that's my
You must have some secret something, George, and if you do, it's got to be a good secret, because I don't see it.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 17-year-old Corey Rossell says fellow motorist Russell Wynn ran him off the road during a chase. Russell says Corey was fleeing the scene of a traffic accident.
Now, did you ever think that the woman that you hit in the white car was thinking the same thing about you and your 4 friends in your car?
No, ma'am, because we had stopped and we saw her drive off, so we just thought it was just...
She didn't drive off.
No, ma'am, he didn't even slow down.
She didn't drive off. That's what you told your mother.
If he'd have stopped, ma'am, I'd have went on my way, thought nothing of it.
If she would have stopped, how would he have known that she stopped if he was following us from the minute that he saw it?
Because he says he saw you hit her and take off. That's how.
That didn't happen. We stopped. I swear we stopped.
That's what you do when you hit another car, even if it's a little bump. You get out, you look at your car, you look at their car, you say, is everything all right? Are you all right? And then you leave. Unless you're scared that you've had your driver's license for a month, you got 4 friends in the car, and maybe if you just take off, this whole nasty thing's just going to go away. It's just common sense, Corey. That's what makes the world go round, common sense. That's why he was chasing. He's not a nut. He sees 4 kids in a car, hit another car, and take off. And that's why he was following you.
Yeah. There was other incidents that made me feel different after the fact that we got onto the main road, and he was still right behind me. Well, it's just rained, so it was pretty slick outside, and I started going through all these roads. I finally got to the end of the road, so I turned onto a main road, and he was still right behind the road. He's still there. He got right up beside my car. This is why I didn't think he was actually following me, because he ran my car off of the road. And he ran my car off the road to where he almost ran right into my driver's side door. And then he got out, and all I could hear was him cussing and cussing and cussing. And so I just took off. I was like, I'm not going to sit here for this. And I took off, and then I was like, I'm turning here, and it just rained, and I had a lot of dirt on my tires, so it's slick, and I just ran right into the tree. And then after I hit the tree, I backed up, and the guy was still back there. And I started going through the parking lot, and they're like, he's still there.
And you got 3 other teenagers in the car with you.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. He's supposed to stop.
Well, I agree at one instant, but I'll be honest, I have told my children that because previously in Florida around our area, people have been shot, you know.
You mean cars bumped?
Cars bumped, you know, all that
That's why
kind of
the white car may have moved on with 4 men in the car behind them.
I agree.
How do you not do the right thing and then come to court to sue about it?
Because I think he took justice into his own hands. I think he could have taken the license plate down.
Just a second. Do you think that your son was driving recklessly during that time?
I'm not saying he was in the right either, but I'm just...
Listen to me, Ms. Chronister. Then what you have to say is, if my son did something wrong, and as a result of my son doing something wrong, there was damage to my car, you don't come to court and sue over it.
I guess my main problem and concern comes in from when they did get on the main road. And he did come up on the side of them to the point where...
So get him over so that he would stop his car.
And when he did stop his car, he comes out cussing and hollering.
How many minutes did it take for him to chase you down?
Probably 20, 25.
He's on his way home from work.
And I understand that, but it's not even like his car was involved in it. He was supposedly being a good Samaritan, I understand, but I just think he went overboard.
You're entitled to your opinion. As a very, very dear friend of mine says, everybody's entitled to their opinion. You have your opinion, I have my opinion. Ultimately, it's only my opinion that counts. Your son did the wrong thing. He hit a car, he took off from the accident. This gentleman who was just looking to go home after a day's work said, that's not right. They just hit this lady in a car and took off. 4 kids in a Taurus, and I'm going to catch up with him, and I'm going to get his license plate, and I'm going to see to it that he's reported. And your son takes off and takes him on a 25-minute chase. I would have taken away his driving privileges. Did you get him a new car?
No.
Good. Your case is dismissed.
But, ma'am, I have a question, though. After my son wrecked, this is where the punitive comes in, he hits him from behind, gets out of his car with a bat, and follows my son with a bat in his hand, screaming and yelling at him.
Threatening
How is that?
And what did your son do?
My son stood there and yelled. They were yelling. His car was smoking. Then my son went around and went to get the bat, and that's when
went to get his bat.
Right.
Case is dismissed. Goodbye.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She kept going, like I said.
My intention was only to get his tag number.
No evidence was found that I hit her.
I was bound and determined to get the tag number.
There was no evidence she was ever there.
That's the only thing I was trying to do, is get a tag number.
It's just my word against his, and I guess his won.
I just doing my duty.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Lopez Chantarasaka versus Muth. Step forward, please.
18-year-old Beverly Lopez and her boyfriend, 20-year-old waiter George Chantarasaka, are suing George's former lover, 19-year-old tutor Saram Muth, for breaking into their home and stealing property.
Pronounce your last name for me.
Chantarasaka.
Chantarasaka. What's your first name?
George.
George. Do you mind?
No.
According to your complaint, this young lady is George's former girlfriend.
Ex-girlfriend.
Former, that's former.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry.
And it is your claim that she broke into the apartment that you now share with George.
Yes.
Broke the door to your bedroom, vandalized the room, and took some of your property. Your defense is that it's your apartment, and you have the right to go into your apartment because you're on the lease.
Yes.
And you did take some of her property, but that was a mistake.
Yes, I did.
But that you gave it back to her.
Yes, I did.
When did you break up with George?
We broke up a week before I left, which was about May 24th.
And when did you come back to the apartment on the incident that Miss Lopez is complaining about?
A week after June 11th.
And when did you move into the apartment, Miss Lopez?
I think the last week of May.
And you moved in with George?
Yes.
So now he's your boyfriend?
He's been my boyfriend. We broke up for about a month, and that's when he got with her.
So you went from her to her, back to her, is that right? Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
You must have some secret something, George, because and if you do, it's got to be a good secret, because I don't see it. Now, you came back June 18th. Tell me why you came into the apartment. What were you looking for?
I came back to the apartment to drop off his wallet because he left it in my cousin's car. And I was there to pick up some of my stuff and take it back to California with me. Little did I know, my door was locked. So out of anger, I broke my door knob.
The door that you had that you say was locked, is that a door to a bedroom that you had shared with George?
Yes.
So it was George's bedroom as well?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
So I broke off the doorknob, went in, took my stuff, and I also took her stuff out of anger.
And where did you put them when you took them?
I actually took it with me to California. But then I realized my stupidity, and I brought it back the next day.
You're lying.
Just a second. Did you get it back?
No. I didn't get any of my stuff back.
Show me that you brought it back and gave it to her.
I have a witness who can't come in because she's a minor.
Well, then if you have a witness that I can't question, then you have no witness.
You're right. I don't. But I did bring it back. Why would she wait for a month to file a report saying that I stole her stuff?
I called you and I told you that I wanted my things
Listen,
back.
Miss Lopez, don't speak to her. Speak to me.
Okay.
Did you get your property back?
No, I didn't.
Okay. You have a bill for the replacement of the doorknob?
No, I don't.
No, I don't know.
But this is the doorknob. This is how it looks when she broke it off.
I don't need the doorknob, madam. She says she broke the doorknob. I need what it's going to cost to fix it.
Well, we don't have the bill.
You have a list of items that she took out of your room?
I have a police report.
Well, you originally told the police, madam, that all the stuff that was taken was original value and current value were the same, $900. Why are you suing her now for $4,500?
Because my things are actually worth more than $900 at
You
the
mean
time.
they increased in value since you filed the police report?
No, I didn't.
Listen to me. If you file a police report and they ask you what the value is and you gave them their original value and the current value, I assume that when you filed that police report you were trying to be as accurate as possible. Is that right?
Yes, but at the time I wasn't really thinking because I was really...
Now you're thinking? Is what you're telling me now you're thinking? Heaven help me. You have no right to take up property and you have no proof that you returned it. I have no idea how much it's going to cost to fix the doorknob because you don't bring me a bill.
And she broke my video camera too.
You have a bill to have it fixed?
No, I don't.
But what am I supposed to do? I'm not a mind reader.
Your Honor, I did not break his video camera.
I'm not considering the video camera because people have to know that when they come to court, they have to be prepared. They have to be prepared with documents. They have to be prepared with receipts. They have to be prepared.
But
I'm speaking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They have to be prepared with an estimate of what it's going to cost to fix property if there's an allegation of damage. And if you don't have that, the judge isn't going to get it for you. George, you got it?
Yes, yes.
Good. As far as you're concerned, you made this report soon after the incident occurred. You told the police what happened. You told the police what your property was worth. You told them at that time that it was worth $900, which is probably a stretch. Certainly that stretch isn't going to be stretched into $4,500. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $900. That's all.
What is our excuse? You messed up out.
of just angry and jealous.
I don't know what I did.
I had her boyfriend for a month. He doesn't want her anymore. She called my phone and made threats. She's psycho. Of course, she's capable of doing things.
Crazy.
He was to provide you with authentic sports T-shirts.
Was this deal a dud?
These are counterfeit designer jerseys.
So they're fakes, right?
Yes.
You knew that.
Yes, ma'am.
That makes you a scam artist.
No, ma'am.
That's pretty slick. Where'd you learn that? From your father?
A Judge Judy you'll never forget. year-old Jaron Howard ripped her off. Jessica says Jaron sold her over $3,000 in counterfeit sports jerseys.
How do you feel?
I'm fine, thank you.
You're all right?
Yes.
You didn't have lunch today?
Breakfast. Breakfast.
Not enough. Did you get something?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. All right, we were on you, Jaron.
Yes, ma'am.
She was supposed to get a lot more merchandise than she got, Jaron. What happened to it?
Well, after she got this merchandise, I told her I had $900 left, and I told her that
$900 left out of the $3,600?
Yes.
No, you mean that stuff, just a second, shh. That stuff that she has there, these counterfeit T-shirts and 2 pairs of shoes cost $2,700?
Yes.
How much profit did you make, Jaron?
I only made $50 per jersey.
You made $50 per jersey?
Yeah, but I get the jerseys for $100, and I sold it to her for $150.
A piece?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Meanwhile, she didn't get everything that you guaranteed that she was going to get. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So what you want her to do is you want her to accept partial merchandise, and you'd be prepared to give her back some money.
No, the rest of the money was going towards shoes, and the shoes that she wanted, they were $79 a piece. And there was no more shoes in the city, so I couldn't get them, so I was going to send her money back.
So did you send her money back?
No, I told her I was going to send her money back. She told me she had an emergency and to don't send the money back, and I never heard from her then.
Why would I have you not send my money back?
All right. Miss Barillo, were you under the impression that these were regulation, authentic T-shirts?
Correct. Yes, Your
What
Honor.
happened when you went to try to sell them?
I initially got the jerseys. They looked great. I thought I've never seen an authentic jersey before. So they look great. I went to my local malls. I met a sales representative. I showed him the jerseys. He took 2 samples. He turned out to be a sales representative for this jersey company who was working alongside a private investigator. He was trying to get me to go to jail because he thought I was running the scamming business of selling fraudulent jerseys. He found out that I did not even know Jaron. I had nothing to do with knowing that these were counterfeit jerseys.
Can I see one?
Yes. You can, if you'd like to see the difference, yeah. The company has actually lent us borrow a real jersey, and this is a fraudulent jersey. You can see the difference.
Real.
And now that I just...
Could I see this, what she's talking about, the stitching on the side? Or, I don't know. You know, sewing was never one of my strong suits. That along with cooking and anything else domestic. Okay.
Well, the color scheme is different.
Oh, look at that. And I didn't realize that.
And the tag, Your Honor, it's very poorly.
Whatever. Somebody looks at it fast, like me, who doesn't know one group from the next. They look pretty close to me. Okay, so they're fakes, right?
Yes.
Jaron, they're fakes, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you know you can't sell fakes, right?
Yes.
You knew that before?
Well, yeah.
Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
You knew that if you got caught selling fakes, that they would close you down if they could find you on the internet, didn't you?
Yes.
And did you figure that they couldn't hurt you because you were 15?
No.
Did you think that they could send you to jail?
I never thought about it.
What would you think about? Did you think about the fact you were doing the wrong thing?
No, I never thought I was doing the wrong thing.
Well, you knew they were fakes. You knew you're not allowed to sell fakes. You just told me that.
I know.
Well, then you knew you were doing the wrong thing. So, you know where you got these fake T-shirts from?
Yes, the internet.
From the internet. Well, the internet doesn't have a brain. It doesn't eat. It doesn't go out to the movies. It doesn't go out to... You got it from somebody through the internet.
Yes, ma'am.
And who was that?
It was a website. They said they had a place in New York because the address is in New York.
Did you ever go there?
No, I've never been there.
Did you ever call there?
No, never called.
And when was the last time you purchased from them, Jaron?
The time I brought these jerseys, about a year ago.
Why'd you stop?
The jerseys were out of style. I couldn't sell them, I couldn't wear them.
And you miraculously stopped a year ago? Was she your only customer?
I was selling jerseys to my friends and stuff.
And your friends were buying them from you?
Yes, ma'am.
Because they like the fakes, right?
I guess, yes. Yes, ma'am.
See that box of junk over there?
Yeah.
It goes back to Jaron.
Okay.
Those are your shoes?
These are my
Now you
shoes.
want to tell me the story about the shoes?
This is just initially how he contacted me. I do shoes like this, and I had a pair on eBay. And he wanted me to initially do some shoes for him. He said he did the same thing by painting shoes and selling them.
Is that what you did?
Yes, I did them for myself mostly.
He said he sold them to rap stars.
No.
So that's how you got started.
Initially,
All right, those
No,
are
I didn't say I sold them to rap stars.
Yes, you
okay.
did, Jaron.
Where are the two pairs? I'm not so sure you're completely innocent in this whole thing.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
If you took the keys and you put them in your pocketbook and you put your pocketbook under your pillow where you slept, nobody would have gotten their hands on the car keys.
You put your keys under your pillow when you sleep.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Jessica Borello says 15-year-old Jaron Howard ripped her off. Jessica says Jaron sold her over $3,000 in counterfeit sports jerseys.
Okay. Mr. Howard, you are responsible, sir.
Yes, I am.
You are responsible because he's your son. You knew what he was doing. All you had to do was ask the questions that I'm asking, and you would have recognized, if you didn't at
Yes,
the
Your
time,
Honor.
that your son was doing the wrong thing.
Right.
So you and your son are getting back all that junk over there, and she's going to see to it that you get the 2 pair of shoes as well that you have. Clear?
Clear.
Good. What?
There were 4 pairs of shoes.
Show me that you delivered 4 pairs of shoes.
There were 4
I
pairs
will
of
buy you
shoes.
2 extra
No,
pairs.
just a
Jaron.
second. Did he give you 4 pairs or 2 pairs?
2 pairs, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I was with Jaron when we bought the 4 pair of shoes.
Okay.
Me and my wife was with me.
Okay.
I
How
did
much did
not.
you spend for each of the 4 pair of shoes?
You can deduct that.
They were 84 something with tax.
Okay. $3,511. Bird, he gets all the junk and she gets her money back. Thank you very
Will
much.
do.
That's all.
Parties
Gotta
are
do the right
excused.
thing, young man.
You may step out.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Richards versus Highsmith. Step forward.
Caretaker Algerine Richards is suing her niece's friend, 27-year-old cashier Jamelia Highsmith, for damages to a rental car. Jamelia says a friend took her keys without permission and wrecked it.
Miss Richards, Miss Highsmith is a family friend,
Yes.
and she is a close friend, according to your complaint, of your niece.
Yes.
The defendant and your niece were planning to go on a trip. They needed a car. Ms. Highsmith asked if you would rent a car for her,
Yes.
and she would be the authorized driver.
Yes.
Why did you need someone else to rent the car for you?
Because I couldn't rent one without a credit card.
And you don't have a credit card?
No, ma'am.
So you were asking Miss Richards to do you a favor?
Yes, ma'am.
And she did?
Yes, ma'am.
That was nice of her.
Yes, ma'am.
And you signed that you were the authorized driver on this trip?
Yes, ma'am.
And then, Miss Richards, you get a call that someone else was driving the car. The car was in a bad accident. Since Miss Highsmith was the only one who was authorized to drive the car company's insurance disallowed the claim.
True.
And they are holding you responsible for all of the damage to the car, and until it's paid, you can't rent a car yourself, and you're going to have this judgment against you on your record.
Yes.
And Miss Highsmith says it's not her fault. So you're going to explain to me, Miss Highsmith, why it's not your fault.
Oh, well, on January the 12th, me and Kawana and her friend, Ann, we went to see my boyfriend, and I put the keys on the counter, and I fell asleep, and I get a knock on the door saying that the car was in a wreck. So I asked Kawana how. She was like, she let Ann hold the car, and I was like, so we just went straight to the scene of the accident, and we called Miss Algerine. And from there on, I thought everything was all right. Miss Algerine came to me, and she was like, she ain't going down for this, so I need to press charges on her niece, stating that I didn't give her, which I didn't give her permission for the keys, but at the time I went to do that, they gave me the hassle because I was the co-driver and I wasn't over the rental car. I was just the driver of the car.
Why weren't you more careful with the keys?
If I lay the keys down, if I don't tell nobody to pick them up, should nobody pick them up. That's what anybody
Let me ask you this question, Miss Highsmith. As between you and Miss Richards, who do you think is more responsible for what happened to the car? Between the two of you?
Neither.
No. You have to listen to what I'm saying. I want you to listen to my words. As between you and Miss Richards, who's more responsible for what happened to the car?
I still say neither.
Well, let me put it to you this way. She was home in what state when the accident
Florida.
happened? And in what state were you and the car?
I was in Florida at the time. I hadn't been to Chicago.
Just a second. In what city in Florida? Were you both in the same city?
No, we was not.
What city were you in?
I was in Lake Wales.
And where were you?
Arbondale.
And where was the car?
In Arbondale.
And how far from where she lives was Arbondale?
About 30 minutes.
So she would have had to have a very, very long arm to have responsibility for that car.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, Miss Highsmith, as between you and Miss Richards, she did a good deed. You had control over the car. If you had taken the car keys and put them in your pocketbook and put your pocketbook in a safe place, nobody would have gotten the car keys. Isn't that right?
Was in the safe
No, listen
place.
to what I said. If you had taken the car keys and put the car keys in your pocketbook and put your pocketbook in a safe place, nobody would have gotten control over the car keys, right?
They was in a safe place.
No, they weren't in a safe place. You told me you put them on the counter.
If it's my belongings, I should have tell nobody not to touch my stuff.
The only thing I fault you for is having bad judgment, because this lady is, you know, so thick, it's almost like molasses pouring from here to here.
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing is her fault.
True.
If you took the keys and you put them in your pocketbook and you put your pocketbook under your pillow where you slept, nobody would have gotten their hands on the car keys.
You put your keys under your pillow when you sleep.
I put my valuables away when I'm in a hotel, when I'm in somebody else's house. I don't take off my rings and say, nobody else should touch that. I don't want anybody else to touch that. And I don't take out my wallet and leave it on a counter in a hotel and say, nobody else better touch that. I put my things away. Maybe the reason why you had to go to Miss Richards in the first place in order to rent this car is because you are so irresponsible that a credit card company wouldn't give you a credit card. Because even my 8-year-old grandchild is offered a credit card.
I don't want a credit card. That's why I don't have a credit card.
Listen, no, you don't have a credit card because you probably overextended your limit when you were 18 and 19 and 20. Don't tell me you never had a credit card because you don't want one.
I never had a credit card. I have cash.
So I assume that you have enough cash to take care of all of your bills. Can I see the estimate of the damage, please, from the credit card company? And Miss Highsmith, if you believe that someone else is more responsible than you are to pay for this, sue them. Do you understand? Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $3,889.49. And if you think that the person who took these car keys from where you left them on the counter should pay this bill, that's what courts are for. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It was great. In my favor, I thank God for it.
If I'd have gave the keys away, I would have been responsible. By me not giving the keys away, I'm not responsible.
She was running from her dad.
I was the only authorized driver of the car, but I still didn't give anybody permission to take the keys or drive the car.
She was supposed to pay. She was responsible for the car.
They was in my possession, but if somebody come and pick them up, hey, I can't stop that.
She come to me to rent the car, and I did, and she let someone else. She was irresponsible.
It's all right. I'm all right with the whole situation. I'm fine.
Well, hey, she don't say anything for me. She dodged me, so hey, it's good.
You are a used car salesman.
New and used. He sold him new wheels.
You gave him a bogus bill of sale.
And then took him for a ride.
Why didn't you have the title to the car, sir?
I was coming from lunch.
Just listen to me carefully, sir. A ridiculous document here, which is the only document that you have. Is that
Can
right?
I present this?
No.
Judge Judy.
You took advantage of him. You say he caused you to lose your job. Mr. Harbourjohn, you are a used car salesman.
New and used.
And the defendant came onto the lot. You were his salesman on the lot where you worked.
No.
Where did he go to?
Well, I wasn't his salesman at first. I was coming from lunch, and my witness, this was the salesman.
You ultimately sold him a car. Unfortunately, it wasn't a car that was through your business. It was your own personal car that you had on the lot.
Right.
Not very good business. You sold him that car for $5,500. So far correct?
Yes.
And when you came onto the lot, you told either one of these two salesmen, that you were prepared to spend $5,000.
Yes.
But you couldn't find a car on the lot that you liked for $5,000. But did you see a sign in his car?
No, ma'am.
He just told you he had a car.
Yes, ma'am.
So he said, well, if you don't find a car, I'm speaking. If you don't find anything you like here, I have a car for sale. You want to look at it. Is that pretty much what he said?
Yes, ma'am.
And some more substance.
Yes, ma'am.
So you went and you took a test drive in that car?
Yes, ma'am.
That same day?
Yes, ma'am.
What day was that?
I'm not sure the day in question, Your Honor.
What day was that, sir?
February 27th.
And you agreed to buy his car for $5,500?
Yes, ma'am.
And how much money did you give him on February 27th?
$5 grand.
In cash?
In cash.
But Mr. Harbourjohn at that time did not have the title to the car.
That's correct.
Why is that, Mr. Harbourjohn? Why didn't you have the title to the car, sir?
I had moved to a different location where I lived, and I later found out they had sent it to the old address, and it never came to my new address.
What month and year did you purchase the car?
This was in December.
So 2 months before you sold it to him, you purchased it yourself. Is that what you're telling me?
It was around three months around there, because it was the beginning of December.
Why were you selling it, Mr. Harbourjohn?
Well, we had 3 cars, and I thought we were going to keep this car for a while. But then my wife advised me it's best that we go ahead and sell this car.
Who did you buy the car from?
The dealership that I worked at.
How much did you pay for it?
It was just over $3,000 with everything involved.
So you were almost doubling your money in 3 months. Is that right?
What I was looking at...
Just listen to me carefully, sir. You were almost doubling your money in 3 months. If you bought it for $3,000 with everything in, and you were selling it to him for $5,500, that's a pretty good business deal for you, right? What word didn't you understand, Mr. Harbourjohn?
I was looking at the Blue Book value of the car.
Did you understand what I just said to you?
Well, yes. Yes.
So the answer is you were making a pretty decent profit. If you could double your money in 3 months,
yes,
I would take that any day.
Okay.
Why is it that the place you worked for, Mr. Harbourjohn, was willing to give you such a great deal on this car? If the Blue Book value that you sold him the car for was $5,500, how come they sold it to you for under $3,000?
Because I worked there. And
because you're a trusted employee.
After I worked for...
I'm speaking.
Sorry.
Because you're a trusted employee, right?
Right.
So you repaid their kindness by a couple of months later, instead of selling this gentleman a car off the lot where you worked, you sold him your own private car. And you didn't have the title to the car. So you told Mr. Neal that you would get him the title when, Mr. Neal?
In the next few business working days, and he said that he would sign it over to me when I gave him the remaining $500.
And you accepted that?
Yes.
And you took the car?
Yes.
When did you get the title?
It was about 2 weeks later, it seemed like. And we met at the DMV. He kept asking me, well, do you have the 500? Do you have the 500? And I said, I don't have the 500.
You mean before you got the title?
Yes. So I told him, I said, well, since I don't have the 500, and you keep calling me, hassling me about the money, go ahead and give me my $5 grand back. Since you haven't signed the title over, you can have your car back. And he said, no, I don't have the $5 grand.
What'd you do with the $5,000?
I had bills at home that I needed to take care of.
So you spent his $5,000 without giving him, at that time, the title to the car?
Yeah. Can I present this?
No. I want you to answer my questions.
Yeah. Sure.
So when he said to you, listen, I don't have the 500 now, and I don't have the title, why don't I just give you the car back and give me my $5,000 back? You couldn't do that because you had used the $5,000 to pay bills. Is that right? Is that what you're telling me?
That's part of it.
That's all the part of it that I'm interested in. So, in effect, you said to him, I don't have the money to give it back, so then what happened, Mr. Neal?
He then went ahead and signed the title over to me, and then we agreed that when I got the money, I would still pay him the remaining $500.
And then what happened, sir?
I received a phone call from him 2 or 3 days later, and he told me that, you know, he had lost his job because I had went to his job and I caused him to lose his job.
Tell me about when you went to his job. You went to his job before you got the title?
Yes. The reason I went to the job before I got the title was because everyone was telling me that, you know, you shouldn't buy a car without a title or something if you put that much down on it. You should at least...
Did you get a bill of sale from him?
No, ma'am. He didn't have one. He had a piece of paper.
Can I see what he gave you when you bought the car?
I don't have it with me, Your Honor.
Well, what did it say, sir?
He just wrote a handwritten copy, and then he put my ID on it. On my copy, he just had my picture of my ID.
We both signed that.
Just a second.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this says that you paid him $5,000 for this Lexus ES300, balance of $500 paid when the title is given to the seller. That's you. And then it has the tag number, blank, so that's not filled in, and you signed it and he signed it. Now, you're a car salesman?
Yes, ma'am.
Up here. Your name?
Jeremy Collins.
How long have you been a car salesman, Mr. Collins?
About 4 years.
When you sell a car, is one of the things that you identify the car with the year the car was made?
Correct.
And the model number?
Correct.
And the make of the car?
That's correct.
And the VIN number of the car?
Yes, ma'am.
Would you ever sell a car to anyone and accept their money without giving them those identifying features of the car?
No, ma'am.
No. Make, model, year, VIN number. That identifies the car that you purchased.
Correct.
You wouldn't accept this, would you?
No, ma'am.
Your boss wouldn't accept that. Would your boss?
No, ma'am.
If you ever sold a car with this kind of information, you think you'd lose your job?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Now you can sit down, Mr. Collins. You got me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Where'd you get the money from?
Financial aid or something.
So you took your college money and bought presents for your boyfriend, who was a drug abuser and a thief. So is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Car salesman Vishnu Harbhajan claims Kip Neal owes for the unpaid balance on a Lexus and for getting him fired.
This is what we know about you, Mr. Harbhajan, because what you're suing him for is the $500 that you believe is still owed for the car, and $4,500 because you say he caused you to lose your job. You deserve to lose your job. Yeah, you do. You deserve to lose your job because you sold your own car on your boss's lot. You gave him a bogus bill of sale that didn't have proper identifying materials on it so that he could come back and pursue any rights that he had. And he went to complain about that, which was his absolute right. And if your boss fired you because you sold the car off the lot that was your car, well, that's your problem. Shouldn't have done it. Now I'll hear you.
I never knew this gentleman until that day when I was coming from lunch, and I was pulling to park in the parking lot when the salesman here, he stopped me and he said, this gentleman is looking for a car. And he had spent a lot of time on the lot, and he couldn't find one. Mr. Jeremy here had already shown him another...
Listen to me.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Okay.
Don't tell me the whole story. I gave you the germane parts of this story, Mr. Harbhajan. You sold him your personal car. You gave him a ridiculous document here, which is the only document that you have. Is that right?
No.
Show me the bill of sale that you say you gave him.
I just want to correct a lie that was said here. I never told him the amount of days. I said as soon as I get the title, I would give you a call.
Mr. Harbhajan, if I go in to buy a car, I expect to get something that indicates to me that this car is mine. He gave you $5,000, almost twice as much as you paid for the car, and he got a car that you could come and take back from him at any time. At any time. Because this doesn't even identify the car that you gave him. Now, he owes you, Mr. Harbhajan, nothing. Nothing. You made $2,000 in 2 months on this gentleman. He overpaid for this car. You took advantage of him, and I think it's the ultimate chutzpah for you to sue him for the other $500 and for $4,500 because you did not behave as an appropriate employee. So, Mr. Harbhajan, your case is dismissed. Goodbye. Good luck.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I went out of my way so he could have the car.
I came with $5,000 cash.
He had at least a written statement, what we agreed on.
I just wanted the car and proof that it was mine.
And he reneged on what we agreed on.
And he told me, well, you know, I need the money real bad. so I can send it back to Taliban.
Taliban?
To me, I feel like that's the reason he was trying to scam me.
Did he say Taliban?
Because he was trying to get as much money as he could possible.
What is he talking about? I'm not from there.
I feel like everybody's always trying to take advantage of the good guy.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Bowie versus Wiley. Step forward.
23-year-old student Lynn Bowie is suing her boyfriend's sister, 23-year-old receptionist Jennifer Wiley, for selling a guitar and a PlayStation belonging to her boyfriend.
Miss Bowie, Miss Wiley is your boyfriend's sister. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
This is the boyfriend.
Yes.
It's really interesting, Bird. I want you to try to follow this. This young man, whose name is
Frederick Wiley.
Frederick, last year had a bit of a drug problem, smoking a lot of marijuana. And in order to get the money to buy this marijuana, he used to steal from his sister. He used to go into her purse, you know, take money, or take her stuff and sell it, right?
Yes.
And when she would complain that he was taking money that she needed because she's a working gal, he'd laugh at her because he's an idiot.
Not to mention he was on high on marijuana.
Well, that alone makes him an idiot. Miss Bowie used to buy him presents. PlayStations, guitars, for his birthday and for Christmas, right?
That's correct.
And Miss Wiley said to her brother, "You steal again from me, I'm going to take your stuff and I'm going to sell it and I'm going to keep the money." Right?
Yes.
And he did. And she did. Right?
Yep.
Now comes the interesting part. The interesting part is Frederick over here wouldn't think of suing his sister because he knows that I would annihilate him. That he would get exactly what he deserved. So he puts up his girlfriend, Miss Bowie, who says, "She can't sell that stuff. I bought that stuff for you." Got it?
Oh, I got it.
So Miss Bowie comes up with this novel lawsuit, which says, even though I bought him these things as presents for his birthday and for Christmas, I really gave it to him and it's shared property because I bought him the PlayStation so that we were going to use it together. And I bought him, what else did you sell, the PlayStation?
The guitar.
And the guitar because I used to listen to the guitar. So that too is shared property. You made two mistakes, Miss Bowie. When you give somebody a gift, there are no attachments. If you bought him a PlayStation for his birthday, you may have used it in his house. But if the two of you broke up, the PlayStation was going to stay with him, as was the guitar, because that's what happens when you give a gift. That was your first mistake. Your second mistake is taking them back. You understand? Do you work?
Yes, I do, right now.
What kind of work do you do?
Retail.
Were you working when you bought him all these gifts?
No, I was not.
Where'd you get the money from?
Financial aid or something. I was working here and there.
So you took your college money and bought him presents? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
That was your third mistake. Because I want you to figure out what that means. That means that the government was giving you money to go to college, right? The people were giving you money because we were investing in your future. And you were taking that money and buying presents for your boyfriend, who was a drug abuser and a thief. Does that say you're smart? Now, understanding that you did that, and you broke up with him for a while, but then Frederick the Irresistible came back into your life. What is it that's irresistible about you, Frederick? I want you to step up here and tell me.
Nothing.
That's true. Do you work?
No.
Why are you looking up at the sky?
Because I have to think about it.
You had to think about whether or not you work?
No, I don't have to think about it, ma'am.
Do you work?
No, I do not.
How do you support yourself?
Going to school and make sure that I stay happy with myself.
Who do you live with?
My mother.
Are you the only son?
The only son, yes, I will be. Am.
What?
I am. Yes, I am.
Your mother favors you?
Say no.
Does his mother favor you?
Yes, very much so.
Do you go to school 8 hours a day?
12 units. I don't know about
12 units?
Yeah.
I could do 12 units standing on one hand.
Wow.
And so could you. Because I'm sure your mother wouldn't call you the favorite unless you're a real smart guy. So what do you do with the rest of your time, Frederick?
Stay at home, listen to music.
Play the guitar?
Play the guitar.
You used to when you had a guitar.
Yes.
Miss Bowie used her student aid to buy these things for you.
Yes, she did.
Well, why don't you get a job and pay her back?
I'm currently right now looking for a job, so.
Where are you looking?
All over Orange County.
How are you looking for a job, Frederick?
I wake up at 9:30, get dressed by 10, 11, I catch the bus and go at least 5 miles on each bus that I can go.
Yeah, please.
Let me help.
Go ahead.
Let me help with this.
Go ahead, Chet. He has a question.
Orange County?
Orange County.
What does everybody in Orange County have?
A car and a job.
A car, right?
Yes.
How do they clean that car? Most of them.
Taking it to the dollar wash and washing it.
What would happen if you washed it?
They'll laugh at me.
Oh.
No, I don't know. Probably give me $5 for it.
At least $5?
Yes.
If you multiplied that by 20 people's cars, how much would that be? More than you make now.
Yes, it would be.
You see where he's going? Do you understand why we've been this couple for a very long time?
Can I add something?
What?
He just currently got fired. He was working with his other sister's boyfriend, and he fired her. He fired him because
he was lazy and couldn't wake up.
Oh, that I believe. I don't want to get involved with this anymore. Listen, right now he's his mother's mistake. If you choose to make him your mistake, that's your problem. She didn't know you were Penny. Nothing. You made him a present. You made him a gift of these items. She sold them because that's exactly what she said she was going to do if he stole from her again.
Actually,
he doesn't deny that he stole from her, right?
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Good. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I was trying over to his house all the time trying to get my stuff back.
It wasn't hers to get the money back for.
When he was developing a drug problem.
And he had no job, so how was he providing for his drugs?
She had to do something about stealing somebody's stuff.
He's mad because I took his stuff.
Trying to act like she's the good one when most likely she's the worst.
I don't even talk to her. I never talk to her.
She needs to be upset with her boyfriend.
This young man is your stepson. Got himself into some trouble.
A son on a crooked path.
We bailed him out of jail. He was going to repay us, but he couldn't.
What was your offense, Kirk?
Driving on a suspended license and minor in possession.
Minor in possession of what?
Alcohol.
Been arrested for anything else?
For minor in possession of alcohol a couple times.
Where are you working now?
I work at the brewery.
Judge Judy.
Safe to say, Kirk, you don't abide by the rules. Assume that this is your son. Is that right? How old are you?
21.
What's your first name?
Kirk.
According to you, you loaned Kirk some money. He got himself into some trouble.
Yes.
A couple of times. And you bailed him out.
Correct.
He hasn't paid you back, and he promised he would.
Correct.
The first thing Kirk says is that he did borrow the money from you, and in exchange for the money, he said he would mow your lawn for the summer, which he did.
Yes.
That was the payback.
Yes.
Right? That was his first excuse. The second excuse is that his mother told him he didn't have to pay you back. Right?
Correct.
And I can take my choice, one from column A or column B, depending upon how
Well,
it
they're
feels.
for separate things.
What was the first loan for, Mr. DiCama?
Initially, the one where he was going to mow our lawn was we bailed him out of jail, and he was going to repay us, but he couldn't. And he was going to mow our lawn for us to help to repay that loan. And he did mow our lawn one time.
I mowed the lawn more than once.
Shh, don't answer.
Sorry.
Was he living with you at the time?
No, ma'am, he was not.
Was not. All right, well, tell me about this bailing him out of jail. Tell me about it.
That time was in February of 2003, and the bail was $325.
What was your offense, Kirk?
Driving on a suspended license.
What was the license suspended for?
It was suspended for an MIP.
What's an MIP?
Is a minor in possession.
Minor in possession of what?
Alcohol.
Okay. Is that the first time your license was suspended?
No, it isn't.
What was it suspended for prior to that?
For MIPs, a minor in possession of alcohol a couple times, and then for driving on a suspended while suspended.
Been arrested for anything else?
I've been arrested for, when I was a minor, for doing a gas and go
You know, I've been a judge for a very long time. I'm pretty familiar with the penal law. I never heard of a gas and go.
Well, I went to a gas station and I stole gas, and then I left without paying for it.
So you stole gas?
Yes.
Safe to say, Kirk, you don't abide by the rules.
I try to. I've made some poor mistakes.
You've made a lot of mistakes.
Yes, I have.
Okay. So, $325 was the first bail.
Yes.
And is that what he was supposed to pay back by mowing the lawn?
Yes.
And how many times do you say you mowed the lawn?
I mowed it at least a couple of times, and plus
At least a couple.
It was for more than just the 300. It was for my probation fines that were also with that, and plus for another fee that I'd gotten for counseling.
Fine. $325, and what were the probation fines?
I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was somewhere around $280.
Okay, $280.
And then the counseling classes were about $350.
$955. Okay. So, right?
That's right.
So, stepfather says you mowed the lawn once. You say I mowed the lawn at least a couple of times. So what you're telling me is, how much property do you have, Mr. Deacon?
It's approximately half an acre.
So you think that you're worth almost $500 a mow for half an acre? Kirk, is that what you're telling me? Doesn't that sound stupid to you?
It does sound stupid.
It sounds, it does sound stupid. Well, I'm glad you at least say it does sound stupid. Because according to your stepfather, let's say you took your stepfather's figure of $325, and if you mowed the lawn twice, according to you, that's $160 a mow. That's even high for half an acre, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
But it's not $500 a mow for half an acre. So you see, what I'm trying to get across to you, Kirk, is if you think that you're going to second-guess the answers to these questions, don't do it.
I'm not just second-guessing.
Yes, you are, sir. Okay. Because I just made you look very foolish, which wasn't your intention, I assume.
No.
Is this your girlfriend?
Yes.
So I assume you don't want to look like a fool in front of your girlfriend. Did he just look foolish?
I suppose.
You wouldn't think he's worth $500 to mow half an acre, would you?
I don't have a half an acre.
You know what half an acre looks like?
Yes.
You think that that's a lot of money to mow half an acre?
Yeah.
Yeah, unless he cuts it with the tweezers. When he only mowed the lawn once, did you say to him, hey, Kirk, the deal was you're supposed to mow the lawn for the summer?
I never see him, so, I mean, I came home from work, the lawn was mowed, and that was it. And he rarely ever talks to me. We never have contact, and he hasn't spoken to me in quite some time. So, no, I did not get the opportunity to do that.
Step up. What about you? Did you call your son and say to your son you were supposed to come over and mow the lawn?
That was originally for the $325. He had made a payment of like $100, I think, originally on that.
You gave him $100?
Yes.
Kirk, when you make a partial payment, that's evidence of a loan. Do you know that? I just taught you a piece of law. What's next?
For the next time, we had to pay court fines and court fees of, well, there were several. There was $918 to the 59th District Court. There was $200.
What is that? Was that for?
That was, he was either going to go to jail, or we paid $918 to keep him out of jail.
Was that a different time, Kirk?
It was for the driving on a suspended.
Well,
that's
you
the
had
only violation they bailed me out of jail for.
You had several of those, according to you.
Yes, I have had several, but that was the only one that they've bailed me out of jail for, the only time they've bailed me out of jail for anything.
Well, that's $918
and I'm
was court
deeply
costs.
under the impression, because in Zealand, the police I had got pulled over, and a police officer said that I was told on by Mr. and Mrs. Bell for driving on a suspended license. And so I was under the impression that my mother is the one who's told on me for driving on a suspended and got me the bail fines, and I've been under the impression that she bailed me out of feeling sorry. And it's not something I've brought up to her because, you know, I don't...
Just a minute. So what you think is that your mother notified the police that you were driving on... I'm speaking.
Yes, ma'am.
That you were driving on a suspended license because you were driving on a suspended license for the second time. And that you believe that the reason she bailed you out of jail was because she felt guilty about having told the police that you were breaking the law. Is that what you're telling me? I just want to make sure that that's what you're telling me.
Yes, Your Honor, but...
All right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Sorry, I mistakenly said the wrong person.
You make a lot of mistakes, Kirk.
Yeah, I do.
Where are you working now?
I work at the New Holland Brewery.
Oy.
And later today...
Was she with her husband or not with her husband?
Yes, for a few months, I guess, before he went to prison.
What'd they do, let you out by mistake?
Yes.
It's not a mistake now, is it?
No.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. David Deekema says his stepson, Kirk Smith, owes for loans to bail him out of jail. Kirk says his mother forgave the loan.
How much did you lend him altogether?
Altogether, it was $3,476.
And how much did he pay back?
$1,150.
Okay, Kirk, you got 30 seconds to convince me that you don't owe your stepfather $2,326. And your time starts right now.
Well, I feel that, you know...
Forget mowing the lawn.
I've forgotten about it. They haven't been, you know, done much for me in this time that they helped me out. They told me, it wasn't my mom that told me I didn't have to pick up, it was Dave. He said, you know, don't worry about it, right? You know, get yourself on track and all that kind of stuff. And that is why I feel that I don't owe that.
I did tell him at one time that he did not have to worry about making timely payments because he could not make the payments, and that it was okay if we stretched it out beyond the original time that we set up, he and I agreed upon.
Which was what time?
We agreed upon 1 year to pay this money back, and so there were several times where he could not make any payments to me, and I said that that was okay, we'll just stretch the loan out longer, but that did not mean that he did not have to pay that money back.
You did not forgive the loan, you just gave him additional time to pay it.
That is correct.
Did you ever tell your son he didn't have to pay back the money?
No. No, it was Dave that told me that.
Well, that's not what you say in your answer. In your answer, you say it was your mother.
Well, because earlier you asked me and you said that my mom told me it was Dave, and sorry, I mistakenly said the wrong person. I'm correcting myself now. It was Dave that had told me that, and he did say that.
You make a lot of mistakes, Kirk.
Yeah, I do.
Where are you working now?
I work at the New Holland Brewery.
Oy. Yeah, all these people think that that's very funny. I mean, it's rude of them, but there is a certain honesty about it that is inescapable. You owe your stepfather $2,326. Take care of your responsibilities. You're 21 years old?
Yes.
Stop making mistakes. You're getting too old to make mistakes.
Yeah, I know.
And I would suggest that you stop making mistakes, too. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I would like to see us move forward and be able to look beyond this.
I've never really, you know, gotten to know him to begin with.
Hopefully everybody can learn that this was a lesson and forgive.
The police officer in Zeeland had told me that somebody had called the cops and he made inclination on who it was.
Just hope he learns from it, that's all.
I can't really say there's been much of a relationship to begin with, so...
I hope that we can have a relationship in the future.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Landers versus Lowry. Step forward.
Forklift operator Darrell Landers is suing his ex-neighbor, Rochelle Lowry, for an unpaid loan for tires and lost wages. Rochelle is countersuing for assault and harassment.
Mr. Landers, it is your claim that you made a loan to the defendant during the time when she was separated from her husband. I assume this is your husband?
Yes, ma'am.
The loan was for tires for her car. You want that money back.
Yes.
You say that you gave her other monies, you paid for other things during the course of your brief relationship. You don't want that money back because that was a gift, but the tires clearly a loan.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Lowry says that the tires as well were a gift from you. There was never any discussion of repayment for the tires. And she has a counterclaim because she says that you became both abusive and assaultive when she reconciled with her husband, and she has a whole litany of things that you allegedly did to her. How did you meet her?
Met her, she moved into an apartment, it was a fourplex. She moved into an apartment right below, not right below me, but kitty corner below me.
Okay.
So they lived
and
there
when she moved into the apartment complex, was she with her husband or not with her husband?
Yes, for a few months, I guess, before he went to prison.
And when did he go to prison?
Imagine a year ago, not sure the
Give me
exact
the
date.
month. When did he go to prison?
April?
April of 2003?
Yes, ma'am.
And how long was he incarcerated?
He got out of prison, was it April this year?
January 8th.
And when did you begin a relationship with Miss Lowry?
Sometime around June of
A couple of months later.
2003, I guess, yes, ma'am.
Tell me how that started.
We just wound up, you know, working in the yard together and all that, gardening and all that. I helped her out with some, you know, stuff she needed done, and just wound up. She was going to get divorced because he was gone for 5 years. And
when was the loan for tires?
her mother-in-law's car broke down about 30 miles from the residence.
Mother-in-law's, did you say?
Yes. The tires were so bad, one was blown completely and the other one had treads sticking out of it.
Okay. When was that, sir?
February of 2004.
Well, you got out of jail in January, you said. Is that right?
Yes.
Did you go home?
I was back in jail, I think it was January...
Okay, so you were back in jail?
17th, yes.
What'd they do, let you out by mistake?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor, they did.
It's not a mistake now, is it?
No.
Okay, so she's on her way back from someplace. So what happened?
The next day, me and her stepfather went to go retrieve the car, so I put a spare on it, drove it with the one, you know, real bald tire, about 5 miles to a tires place, put tires on it, drove it back home.
What did she say to you, and what did you say to her that caused you to go back with her relative to get the car?
That she would pay me, if I bought the tire, she would pay me as soon as she got her check, which is on the 3rd, and this was like February 29th, so I said, okay. So I charged it on my charge card. And then when it came time to pay me, she skipped town.
How much were the tires?
$107, I believe. I have the receipt right here in my credit card statement.
Can I see them, please?
Yes. I have pictures of the car also if you want to see it with the tires.
No.
Okay.
Well, but you're suing her for much more than that, sir.
It was for, I was told I could do it for wages for the days I missed for going to court, my day's wages.
No, you can't.
Okay, so then I guess you have to drop the day's wages.
$107.08. Okay, so I'll hear you.
Your Honor, Daryl did buy the tires for my mother-in-law's car. There was never no agreement on paying him back.
How did he get to the car in the first place?
With my stepfather.
And that was in February?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember it was the beginning of February or the end of February?
It was towards the end of February.
And when did your husband get out of prison after they put him back and then
He got out at the end of March, beginning of April.
And where's the car now?
It's my mother-in-law's car. It's in the home with her in Wisconsin.
You don't drive it?
No, ma'am.
Were you driving it then in February?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were driving it in March?
The first part of March, yes.
Now tell me about your counterclaim.
I'm countersuing him for the damage he did to my house, to the apartment that I rented. I did not get my deposit back. Part of my deposit, I moved simply because of the fact that he was harassing me, stalking my daughter. I have a 22-month-old baby. Your Honor, I have pictures. I had a garden in the backyard. He dug up all my flowers. He dug up my rose bushes.
Did you see him do that?
Yes. He also kicked in my front door.
Just a second. Let's start. Did you dig up a garden?
No, ma'am.
Did you have to pay for that?
I paid for the flowers, not the part that he dug it up. No.
Okay. What else?
I don't know if he punched or kicked. I was inside of my living room, my front door. It was a big hole this size. I didn't get half my deposit back because of that.
When?
That's right before I moved, the end of February.
Tell me about it.
I was inside of my house. This happened every day, Your Honor. He would call me.
Just tell me what happened at the end of February.
I was inside of my house with my daughter, and he was banging on the door and banging on the door. Let me in, you owe me money.
Oh, just let me in, you owe me money.
Can I say it on TV?
Shh, just a second. Let me in, you owe me money.
Mm-hmm.
And what did you say to him?
I said, Daryl, you're drinking. You're not coming in my house. No. Quit calling me. Quit coming over here.
So he wanted his money.
Mm-hmm.
And you already told him that you weren't going to see him anymore.
I told him to stay away from the house, yes.
Okay.
I was very scared of him.
Okay. When did you start to get scared of him?
After I seen through him, my husband kept warning me.
Just a second. When did you start to get scared of him?
Very scared of him?
No, let's say a little bit scared of him.
The beginning of the year.
Beginning of January?
Before he even bought the tires.
So why did you let him buy the tires?
I didn't have any other choice. I was a single mom. I was sick. I had no money.
Why'd you get a job?
I'm disabled, Your Honor.
What's the matter with you?
I have Wegener's vasculitis.
What does that mean?
It's like a form of cancer. It attacks my heart, my lungs, and my kidneys.
And when were you diagnosed with that illness?
1994.
It seems to me you can do everything else except work. can have a husband, you can have a house, you can take care of your house, you can take care of a garden, you can drive all over Wisconsin. What you can't do is work. That's peculiar. He wants $107 for the tires. You went back to your husband. Give him the $107. Okay? You got it? Good. Counterclaim's dismissed. That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused when they step out.
The whole time I kind of knew she was using me somewhat, but towards the end I thought it was just, that's all it was for.
It was an everyday thing. He gave me money, gifts, helped me pay my bills. The tires was no exception.
She's way out there. I don't know what she's talking about.
I'm not real pleased with all of it, so... And I just think that he got lucky that the only thing that happened here was a court proceeding.
She had different guys over there all the time, 3, 4 in the morning. I had no idea what was going on, and, you know, as far as I know, she was still getting divorced, but, you know, it just ours just got through all until it fell apart, you know.
I think that my wife wears her heart on her sleeve, and she thinks everybody's good, but sooner or later, somebody wants something for whatever they give them.
A woman who went too far.
Called me 6 to 10 times a day. I want money. I want money.
A man who wouldn't give in.
Your home was burglarized.
Destroyed.
A detective who knew too much.
Served a search warrant.
What do you find in the house?
All items that I recalled were reported stolen.
Judge Judy.
The probability of his stolen property ending up where she was a house sitter is really...
Stolen property. Penny is countersuing for defamation of character.
All rise.
Yeah, this is case number 25 on the calendar in the matter of
Quine.
Quine versus Pupo. Parties have been sworn in.
Mr. Quine, according to your complaint, you knew the defendant, and at some point you hired her to do some lawn work for your business.
Yes, I did.
And then a dispute arose with regard to her compensation.
Yes.
So there was some bad blood. Subsequently, your home was burglarized.
Yes, it was.
When was your home burglarized?
That was August 9th.
And it is your belief that Miss Pupo was responsible for the burglary, either herself or herself in conjunction with others. And you want her to reimburse you in the amount of $4,000. The stuff that was taken from your home was in excess of that, but you want $4,000 for the value of the property that was taken and not recovered. Now, Ms. Pupo says that you still owe her some money from this weeding job that she did a while back, but she is really suing you for defamation because she says that you went around town telling people that she was a thief. That's your counterclaim.
Yes.
Let's not get into, please, the wages, because I'm really not interested in the wages from a year ago, whether it's $70 or $100 for weeding the property. I'm not interested in that. What I'm interested in is the dispute over the wages. Now, when did that take place, Mr. Quine?
The dispute happened, I hired her to do the weeding on one house, okay? That job paid 6 hours to do the weeding and the shrub trimming.
Okay.
Okay.
So that whatever she did work, and you gave her money. How much did you give her?
I gave her $70 after she worked 6 hours.
Just a minute. You gave her $70, and
Yes.
she said she wanted how much?
She wanted $210.
And that was somewhere around the end of July.
Yes.
Is that the last you heard from her?
Absolutely not. She called me 6 to 10 times a day, every single day.
Between the time the job was completed and...
Until the robbery of my house.
And what were these conversations like?
I want money. I want money. You promised me you'd pay me money. And I told her I paid you over and above what I owed you.
Tell me about the break-in to your home.
I was working late, and she had called so many times. All of a sudden, Saturday, the phone calls stopped. I get home, my house is robbed.
What do you find in the house?
Destroyed. All my electronics were gone.
Do you have a police report?
Yes, I do.
May I see it, please? Is this the detective that responded to the scene?
This is Detective Gunderson, who is with the postal...
No, you didn't listen to my question. What? I said, is this the detective who responded to the scene on the 9th of August?
Yes.
Okay, you can step up, sir. Detective, with what law enforcement authority are you affiliated, sir?
The Post Falls Police Department.
And how long have you been employed by them?
Approximately 17 years.
Were you assigned this case?
I was. It was a subsequent investigation. Actually, an officer did respond, took a
But not you.
But not me, no.
Okay,
I handled the follow-up of the case after the fact. I didn't actually respond to the home.
Okay. Did anything in that subsequent investigation lead you to believe that the defendant was somehow involved in this burglary?
Yes, it did. I served a search warrant on the house where she was residing.
And what prompted you to serve a search warrant at that location?
It was another investigation, not this one. And once I got into the house...
It was another investigation for what?
I was involving fraud and drugs.
Now, do you remember on what date you executed this search warrant?
Yes, it was December 22nd.
And who was at that location?
Penny was there.
Penny, the defendant, Ms. Pupo.
Yes, Penny, the defendant.
Did you
was
know
there.
her before?
I had spoke to her before, yes.
In what context?
I had questioned her about Mr. Quine's property previous to that, asked her if she would talk to us about the burglary of his property.
Okay.
Things like that.
And when you got to the house and she was there,
yes.
Had you given her any notice that you were coming?
No.
And you found what?
A DeWalt drill, a Panasonic telephone, Pioneer faceplate to a stereo that were all items that I recalled were reported stolen by Mr. Quine.
And did it subsequently turn out that those items did in fact belong to him?
Yes, he identified them.
Did Ms. Pupo offer any explanation of how those items serendipitously appeared in a home where she was living?
No, she wouldn't talk about it.
Was she arrested?
Yes.
And what happened to that arrest?
She was charged with possessing the stolen property.
Right.
That's still a pending case.
It is?
Yes.
Is that case still pending?
No, they've dropped those charges, Your Honor.
Let me see.
This is all I'm being charged with now.
Well, I am not certain, madam, that the question of possession of stolen property has been resolved. So I am not going to ask you whether or not you stole his property. I have your answer, which is sworn to. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And your answer states, I was living with my parents and ran into an old, friend who asked me to watch his home while he went into prison. December 22nd, this home was raided by a task force and a few of Dan's belongings were recovered. That's what you say. I'm not asking you any questions, Ms. Pupo, because I don't necessarily believe that those issues will or will not be raised in your current indictment of possession of methamphetamines, which, according to this, you are still being charged with as a result of the raid of December 22nd.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The statistical probability of his stolen property ending up in a house where she was acting as a house sitter is really, really big.
And later today,
I borrowed the sewing machine because we had made a quilt at church, and I called over and I asked Fallon, hey Fallon, how you doing? Is Cheryl there? And then
Listen to me. Don't shake your head because you know nothing about what happened.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Dan Quine says former employee Penny Pupo burglarized his home. Penny is denying the charge.
How many people reside in your town, sir?
Approximately 20,000.
So the statistical probability of the stolen items, considering the nexus between these two people, the relationship between these two people, the statistical probability of his stolen property ending up in a house where she was acting as a house sitter is really, really big.
Yes.
Right? That's your case.
Yep.
He doesn't have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you stole this property. I find that by the required quantum of proof in a civil proceeding, which is proof by a preponderance of the evidence that either you or your friend who's in jail or somebody else who you importuned stole the property, and I'm awarding him $4,000 on his claim. Now let's get to your counterclaim. Sir, stand up. Tell me your name.
Mike Ollinger.
Take your hands out of your pockets, Mr. Ollinger. Are you prepared to testify that at some time subsequent to December 22nd, or sometime after August 9th,
Yeah, it was in the fall.
you heard this gentleman, Mr. Quine, tell people that Miss Pupo was a thief.
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
She is a thief.
Okay.
She is a thief. And the truth is an absolute defense to a charge of defamation. She or others acting on her behalf stole his property. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I understand.
Good. Case counterclaim is dismissed. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,000. Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Stole everything out of my house, every electronic I had.
Wouldn't sleep with him. That's what the bottom line is.
There was no sexual nothing with that girl. All right? There was never has been, and she knows it.
Maybe you should come to work with a thong on. I'll pay your wages if you if you put out.
Her lies are just carrying on and on and on.
How many people do you have in your city? If someone was talking about you, I'm sure it would bother you too.
She's a drug addict, and she got caught.
Anybody that knows her knows that that isn't the case. So
I'll tell you what, Post Falls and Coeur d'Alene area is going to know all about her.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Frazier versus Lovelace. Step forward, please.
Computer operator Cheryl Frazier is suing her former friend, daycare owner Felicia Lovelace, for stealing her sewing machine. Felicia says she bought the machine from Cheryl's daughter.
Miss Frazier, it is your claim that 3.5 years ago, the defendant borrowed a sewing machine of yours, an old sewing machine.
Yes, ma'am.
She didn't borrow it from you directly.
No, ma'am, she didn't.
She borrowed it, according to you, from your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
And she didn't return it.
No, ma'am.
So you just woke up and found out that the sewing machine wasn't there. You want from her $3,000.
Yes, ma'am.
$3,000. The sewing machine was worth a couple of $100 maybe, but you want the rest of the money because you say that because you didn't have the sewing machine, you weren't able to make money. And the other $2,800. What kind of work do you do?
Well, I have a job as a computer operator, but I have a business where I sew lingerie.
Weren't you missing this sewing machine? If that's your business?
Well, I have quite a few, Your Honor.
You have quite a few what?
Sewing machines.
How many do you have?
I have 4 antiques. I have a $4,000 embroidery machine, and then I have some ones that I bought used.
When did you realize that this sewing machine was missing?
It was the latter part of November 2003.
So what did you do?
Well, I looked around the house for it.
Oh, you didn't find it. So
no, I didn't.
Go ahead. Keep going.
And I'm
very unsympathetic with this.
Okay, I understand.
This is a little nonsense as far as I'm concerned.
I understand. I called my daughter up, and I asked her about it.
Step up. Name?
Fallon Frazier.
Ms. Frazier, tell me how the defendant got possession of the sewing machine.
I think I was like a junior in high school, and she called one day and she asked for my mother at home, and I told her no. And then she asked me if I had a sewing machine, and I said yes, and she asked if she could borrow, and I told her yes. She said she was going to return it the next day.
You gave her your sewing machine. It wasn't your mother's sewing machine, it was yours.
Yes.
Okay, good. And what happened the next day?
The next day I called her, and she said she would bring it by, and she never came by.
And what happened the day after that?
The day after that, I didn't call her.
And the day after that?
I didn't call her until about like some months later.
And when you called her some months later, what did she say to you?
She said she was going to bring it by.
And she didn't bring it back?
No, she didn't.
Yeah. And if you were missing it and she borrowed it and put your hand down. Okay. If you were missing it and she had borrowed it, you would have told your mother, Felicia borrowed my sewing machine, Mom. She hasn't returned it and I need it. But you never told your mother.
No, ma'am.
Not until just listen to me, not until 3 years later. Right?
Right.
Huh?
Right.
Good. Now you want to tell me about the sewing machine?
It wasn't 3 years. It was like 5 years. It was in 1999. I was expecting a child, and I borrowed the sewing machine because we had made a quilt at church. And I called over and I asked Fallon, hey, Fallon, how you doing? Is Cheryl there? And she said no. And I said, well, I was trying to borrow a sewing machine. I was going to see if she'll let me use her sewing machine to sew around the quilt. And she said, well, I got one. And she said, well, you can use that one. And I said, well, okay. And then she said, well, it's pretty old. I don't even know if it works anymore. And then I said, well, can I get it and see if it works? And then
listen to me. Don't shake your head because you know nothing about what happened.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Fallon never called me back for that sewing machine. She said she didn't even want it because it wasn't no good.
Listen to me. Your story changed a little bit from the answer that you wrote.
She never offered me money.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Cheryl Frazier says former friend Felicia Lovelace owes for the return of an expensive sewing machine. Felicia claims Cheryl's daughter sold her the machine.
Listen to me. You know nothing about what happened between your daughter and this lady, except what your daughter tells you. Okay. Go ahead.
And I said, well, can I get it? And she said, well, yeah, you can get it. And she said, it's in the basement. I don't feel like going down there and get it. I said, well, Fallon, I'll give you $30 if you go down there and get it. And she said, well, okay. I said, well, we're on our way over there to get it. And then she said, okay. So we got over there. We blew the horn, and Fallon was at the door. And she brought the sewing. I went up to the porch, and she came out with the sewing machine. I got the sewing machine. Fallon never called me back for that sewing machine because she said she didn't even want it because it wasn't no good.
Listen to me. Listen to me. Miss Lovelace, your story changed a little bit from the answer that you wrote. What you just told me was, if you go downstairs to the basement, I'll give you $30. That's what you told me.
Okay.
She never offered me money.
Which means, for her trouble of going down to you, and you called and asked if you could borrow a sewing machine.
Right.
So you borrowed this sewing machine, and you gave her $30 for the trouble of going down, according to you, of getting the sewing machine. Stop shaking your head.
$30.
Of going down and getting the sewing machine. Then you had to return it. Why didn't you return it?
Well, I should have, but I didn't.
Fine. Then you're responsible for it. Because she's underage, she can't give away something that clearly was not necessarily hers, might have been her mother's, I'm not exactly sure. She said it was hers. I have an old one, according to you, but clearly you borrowed it, you kept it for a long period of time. You don't still have it, according to you.
No.
Oh. And clearly this was an old sewing machine that Miss Frazier never even missed. And you say since 1999, maybe 1999, maybe 2000, I don't know what it is. I mean, the sewing machine isn't worth much. Wasn't worth much when you got it in 1999. Certainly wasn't worth much in 2003 by the time you woke up and found out that it wasn't there. How much do you think, Ms. Frazier, this was worth when it was borrowed?
I had just bought the sewing machine.
I don't believe that. No. Listen to me.
I bought it used. Okay. I bought it used, and
Ms. Frazier, listen to me.
Okay.
I don't believe that your daughter gave away a machine that you had just purchased, whether you just purchased it new or used. I don't believe that you had just purchased it. When did you buy it, and how much did you pay? I
bought it in August of 1999. I paid $279. You would have to understand my daughter, Your Honor. My daughter, anything, we have an issue of mine versus hers. I had a brand new sewing machine that I had purchased, and I went and bought that used to keep her from using my brand new sewing machine. Okay, she still was using my sewing machine.
You said that you had loads of sewing machines.
I do, but she only wants to use whatever I use to sew with, Your Honor.
Not a major deal. You lived without the sewing machine for either 3.5 years or 5 years. Miss Lovelace absolutely should have returned the sewing machine. It was a loan. The fact that she forgot about it, put it in her basement, there was a flood, she got rid of it, that doesn't excuse the fact that she borrowed it and she should have returned it. You are not entitled to $2,800 for the lost value of lost earnings that you could have made from this sewing machine were it available for use, because that is nonsense. You're entitled to but probably is fair, reasonable value of what a sewing machine might cost. And I have no idea what a used sewing machine costs. I'll take a look at the bill. Not that I necessarily believe that that's the sewing machine, but I just want to take a look at it. Now, Miss Lovelace, did you use the sewing machine to complete your project?
No, because it didn't work when I got it. And then when Cheryl called me about the sewing machine, I told her it didn't work. And she said, well, there wasn't nothing wrong with it, but the tension had to be straightened out.
Oh.
That's what she said.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $200. That's all.
Judge, you may step out.
She doesn't even run a business to get $3,000 for it. So she got what she had coming.
I do, in fact. I just started up my business, and she knows. She's been to my home.
She's been harassing me. She's been calling the state and everybody on me, trying to bring me down because I run a business.
I don't do things like that. I don't involve my children in anything like that.
I have 13 kids of my own to take care of. I don't have time for her harassing me and calling me and harassing me.
Calling her about something that was mine is not harassment.
She's trying to blow everything out of proportion, and she's trying to get me for what? I don't know.
The friendship was gone a long time ago.
We have police reports and everything about this girl. This girl is crazy.
Were you and your daughter living together?
No, ma'am.
No. Why not?
We don't have the best relationship.
Homeless at 14,
her aunt had kicked her out, her cousin had kicked her out.
she offered to take her in.
She had nowhere else to go.
But did she take everything she owned?
Where's her furniture?
My ex-husband has it.
You have no right to give away her furniture. That's outrageous.
Judge
Kibble.
I'm 17.
You're a mother? According to what I read, your mother moved out of state. Is that right? Where had you been living?
I was living with my cousin.
In what state?
In Indiana.
And where did you move to?
I moved from Chicago to Portage, Indiana in February.
And how far is that away from where your daughter was living?
Prior, in Illinois, I was about a 20-minute ride.
Let's start over again. Were you and your daughter living together?
No, ma'am.
No.
Why not?
I was waiting to relocate into Indiana from Illinois. And she was attending school there and wanted to keep attending school there.
In Indiana?
In Indiana.
Okay. Had you been living with your daughter in Indiana? Or was your daughter living with you at any time?
No, ma'am.
Who were you living with?
I first lived with my Aunt Angela. And then
until you were how old?
Until I was about 15, maybe 16.
So you never lived with your mother?
Not in Indiana.
Anywhere?
Yes. When
Where?
In Las Vegas.
When you were how old?
From the time I was born until I was 14.
After you were 14, you lived with other relatives?
Yes.
You want to tell me why?
We don't have the best relationship.
You have any siblings?
I have a little sister.
Who does your sister live with?
My mom.
According to what I read, there came a time when you moved in with the defendant because you were a very good friend of her daughter's.
We were best friends.
And you lived with her for a while, and then there was an incident where you had a falling out with her daughter. You left.
Yes, ma'am.
And it is your claim that you didn't get your furniture. You didn't take it with you when you left, and they disposed of your furniture. So you want the value of your furniture.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When did you move in with Miss Kilmer and her daughter?
The end of August, beginning of September 2003.
And how long did you live with them?
About 4 to 5 months, maybe.
Is that right? How long did she live with you?
Until January. I don't remember if it was the beginning or the end.
It was the beginning.
So about 5 months. How were you supporting yourself?
I get Social Security.
How much do you get?
$756 a month.
Are you an emancipated minor?
No, my aunt just gave me my money because she was my legal guardian, and she's still filed at the Social Security office as my guardian.
Okay. Now, what kind of financial arrangement did you make with Miss Kilmer?
$200 a month for food, electricity, water, everything like that.
For everything?
Everything.
Did you pay her every month?
Yes, I did.
Did you pay her in check or cash?
Cash.
And what did you do with the rest of the money?
I bought clothes, food, things I needed.
What happened in January?
In January, me and Margie were hanging out at a friend's house. His mother's ring came up missing. It was in the bathroom. We had all stopped in the house to use the bathroom, and we'd left. And then we had come back later on, and we were hanging out, and his mom came up to us and said, "My ring's gone." We all checked our stuff just in case it accidentally dropped in. I personally know I didn't have anything to do with that ring. I didn't touch it. I didn't even see it. And Margie was upset, and she was accusing me of taking it, trying to find out what happened. Because Ryan, that's the friend we were at, he called and told her that detectives would be coming over to our house. And she was really upset. She was like freaking out, banging things. I asked her what was wrong, and it escalated from there into a verbal confrontation. She called me some names. I called her some names. She threw a bottle of hair conditioner at me. I had a notebook in my hand. I threw it back at her. She walked up to me and slapped me. In self-defense, I grabbed her by her hair and hit her. Then her mom stood up and started yelling to stop,
Her father stepped in between us. She kept trying to go around him. I stepped off to the side and away, and I said, I didn't steal anything, that's a lie. Maybe I added some stuff to that, but that's the gist of it. And they said, leave. I went downstairs, I got my stuff, I called my friend Veronica, and I said, just come get me, I'll explain to you later.
And
she
this
came and got
was
me.
when in January?
The beginning. I had just given the Kilmers the rent for the month of January a few days before.
And when did you come back for your, because you had some furniture that was stored in the basement?
Yes.
What kind of furniture?
2 nightstands, headboard, brand new mattresses, bed frame, and a dresser and a mirror.
Where had that come from?
My money, I had saved it up, my Social Security, so I could have some nice things.
But your furniture had to be stored because you had furniture in your room?
Yes.
Okay, I'll hear you.
Well, there's been a long-going friendship with Joey and Margie. She needed a place to stay. Her aunt had kicked her out. Her cousin had kicked her out. She wasn't able to live with her mother, so we took her in, treated her like family, made arrangements for her to pay rent. She, in December, had given us $100, saying she was going to be gone for part of the month, and she couldn't give us all of it. In January, she had given, I think she had given my husband some money. We were going through some problems. I had lost my job. I had asked him to leave. When he had come back to get some furniture for where he's staying.
So 1 second. We're talking about the rent. She moved in August. Of 2003. Who did you give the money to?
Either one.
So when you say you think she may have given your husband some money, it's possible that she gave him the rent.
Sure.
Because that takes care of your counterclaim. You're counterclaiming for rent. If she gave your husband rent, she doesn't owe you any rent, right?
Well, but he said he didn't get any money.
Yeah, how do I know that? How do I know that? If you're going through difficult financial times, how do I know that he didn't get the money and spend it?
Probably.
And another thing, Miss Kilmer, if you didn't get any rent from her and that was your agreement, then why did you let her stay with you for 5 months?
She had nowhere else to go.
I don't know if I buy that, because if you were doing it out of the goodness of your heart, you wouldn't have charged her any rent.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Listen, you're not the mother of the year. You don't leave your 14-year-old daughter to fend for herself, and I don't care what kind of disagreement you have with her. We understand each other?
Yeah.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 17-year-old Joey Kibble says her former friend's mother, Mary Kilmer, gave away her furniture. Mary claims when Joey moved out, she abandoned the property.
Okay, I'm dismissing your counterclaim because I don't believe that she didn't pay the $200 either to you or your husband. So let's move on with, where's her furniture?
My ex-husband has it, and I haven't had any contact with him.
Well, how did he get it?
Came to the house to get some furniture. Shortly after she moved out, it was in February, he had come to the house to get some of his things after I had him removed from the house.
You had him removed from the house by the police?
Yes.
And when he came back to get his things, did he come back with the police?
No.
He came back by himself?
With some friends.
And how did it end up that he went into the basement and took her furniture?
He needed something to sleep on. I had no idea how long it was going to be there. It was stored there. We had tried to get in touch with her.
Ma'am, that's not true.
Just a minute. Okay. Listen, you're not the mother of the year. You don't leave your 14-year-old daughter to fend for herself just because she's got $700 a month to take care of herself. And I don't care what kind of disagreement you have with her at age 14. We understand each other?
Yes.
Perfect. Go ahead.
Okay, I had told Joey when she called to get her furniture and her belongings that Frank had her furniture, and I would
I'm talking about before you gave away her furniture to your ex-husband. I don't care whether he slept on the floor or whether he slept on nails. Why do I care what he slept on? You have no right to give away her furniture. That's outrageous. You have a bill for the furniture?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it, please.
I also have receipts for my mattresses. That's the mattress. These are the receipts.
You have furniture. The furniture she gave away, she had absolutely no right to give away any of your furniture. So $561.72 with tax. Is that right?
Yes.
And you're talking about mattresses, which were another $630. So That's what you owe her. You can't give away somebody else's property without notice. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,191. I'm dismissing your counterclaim because I don't believe you when you say she didn't pay rent. I believe she paid rent. I also am going to award her the $200 for her January rent because I find that she did, in fact, pay you your January rent, whether she paid it to you or to your husband. That's $1,391 since you threw her out in January. She couldn't live there. $1,391 for the plaintiff. Thank you. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
We did what we could for 9 months of hell having her live with us.
I think this is all ridiculous and it could have been avoided.
The fighting with my daughter in the kitchen, the fist fight.
I was attacked and it was completely self-defense.
Certain things she said to me, the B word, the C word, the A word, you name it.
I think it's a big joke and I think she's a liar.
We can sit here and call each other liars all day, but I know the truth and that's what matters.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Shore versus Moore, step forward.
Truck driver Donna Shore is suing her daughter's boyfriend, truck driver Jason Moore, for the cost of a waterbed and a cell phone bill. Jason says he owes nothing.
Mrs. Shore, the defendant is your daughter's boyfriend, and I assume from everybody's position that this is your daughter. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And I assume that if this is your daughter, you and your daughter are not on good speaking terms.
Not right now, no.
And this is your?
My husband, her stepfather.
Okay. Boyfriend, according to you, owes you for the balance on a waterbed that you sold to them.
Yes, ma'am.
And also for a cell phone bill that he promised to pay.
Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Moore says that the waterbed is between you and your daughter. He had nothing to do with that arrangement. And he's got a sort of interesting defense for the cell phone bill, which I will get to when we get to him. Okay? Good. The defendant and your daughter lived with you for a period of time, I
Yes,
gather.
ma'am.
Is that right? When did they live with you?
From the beginning of October 2003 till the beginning of December 2003.
Why?
At the time, Jason was having trouble, you know, on his job. They were not giving him enough miles driving the truck so that he was making no money. My granddaughter was in St. Louis with her father.
Not their child together.
No.
Your daughter has a child with somebody else who was with her father.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And Jordan could not come home because of the apartment that they were living in. I was told that she had no bed. I was never physically in the apartment. But DCFS went and checked out the apartment.
Department of Children and Family Services.
Yes. And we're told that Jordan could not come home as long as they lived there. So we let them move in with us so that we could get Jordan home. We were hoping that, you know, they would turn their lives around, get everything straightened out.
How long had Jordan been living with her father?
She went down in July. She was supposed to come home between 2 weeks and a month after she went down there.
And did her father seek custody of her? Is that why there was an investigation by Department of Children and Family Services?
I'm not sure about that. I know there were other circumstances involved, which I don't know if I should mention or not.
Go ahead.
There were accusations made. They were eventually...
Unfounded.
Right, unfounded, yes.
Where is Jordan now?
She's with Jason and Tara, I assume.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. What happened in October of 2003 with regard to the telephone?
My husband and I did not have a home phone. We're over-the-road truck drivers. We had cell phones. When Tara and Jason came and moved in with us, he was going to work with us. He was going to be on the road, needed to keep in contact with Tara. Tara needed to be able to, you know, if Jordan got hurt, Jordan needed the doctor, something, to be able to get a hold of somebody.
Jordan came back to live with you at that point?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So we went and got the phones. They said they didn't have the money.
So you put them on your account?
Yes, ma'am.
And they promised to pay the bill, I assume?
Yes, ma'am.
That's right, correct?
So kind of, yes. Yes, ma'am.
So you got them the phones?
Yes, ma'am. But the next day, he took it back and upgraded it because it wasn't fancy enough.
Is that right, sir?
Both phones were upgraded the next day, yes.
Why did you do that?
Because the phones they give you with the plan were very cheaply made, so it would not have been worth it. Why not pay the extra $30 and get a better phone with better warranty?
So you paid the $30?
I did, yes.
Okay, fine. So you didn't have money for phones, but you had money to upgrade the phones?
I did have money for phones.
Well, then why did you have her put the phones in her account?
I didn't want to get the phone in her name. I'd already borrowed the money from my boss, and she knew of that. She thought it'd be better for me to save my money and get, instead of me getting one phone for myself, to get a phone for her daughter, too. So they came
and you said okay?
Yeah, they came to me with this plan,
okay.
yes.
So you said okay, with the understanding that you would pay for the service.
I was going to pay half the service, yes.
And the daughter was going to pay half the service. Was she working at the time?
At the time, yes, when we got the phones.
Now, at some point, you stopped paying for the phone. Is that right?
When I got the second bill, yes.
Why?
Because by the time we got the first bill, she had done quit her job, and she knew we was financially tight. So I paid the first bill, and when I got the second bill, I told her I couldn't pay that. It's just too much. And she had agreed to have the phone service canceled, and I'd pay the disconnect fee for each phone.
So did you pay the bill?
She would never show me a bill.
Well, now we'll show you the bill. Can I see the bill, please?
Yes, ma'am.
The bills never came to my name.
No, I'm going to show.
And she would hide them from us.
Just a second. Oh, no. Just a second. She's not hiding, sir.
Oh,
she doesn't want to hide them. Let me just see the bills. You say you didn't pay the bills because you didn't get the bills.
I had the bills. What the bill was due, it came on my cell phone. At the time the phone was off, the bill was $213.74.
Okay, well...
The bill was due in December, 12/11 of '03.
No, on December 19th, sir, it was $449.03.
Well, that's not what the phone says.
Well,
that came from Verizon. Okay. I'd never seen this. She'd never show us bills.
I want you to see it. No, give it back to him, please.
No, I've seen it. I believe you.
Give it back to him.
I'll look at it.
There you go. Enjoy.
And did you use these phones after January?
No, they were turned off.
Stand up. You are both testifying that in the month of January, you did not use these phones.
The phones were set off at the beginning of January.
So that this last bill, can I see that, please? This last bill dated...
Would probably be the remainder of December and January.
December 19th. Now, then you would have the bill from December 19th to January.
Yes, probably so.
Okay. Do you have the bill for January?
No, I do not have it.
Why not?
I don't know why I don't have that one.
Well, I can't help you with that because the last bill then that I would find that they're responsible for is the one dated December 19th for $449. Now, if he says that the phones were shut off the beginning of January, added on to that would be monthly access of $169 and additional services, et cetera, $679. Now let's talk about this water bid. Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. The water bed, we were moving to a new place, and I went out and bought new beds for the child because she came first. You know, she's a child.
Jordan.
Yes, she needed a new bed, so I bought new beds because I have children of my own, so I bought new beds for the kids. And then we were going to be without a bed.
What kids?
I have kids from a previous marriage that I get every other weekend.
Okay, so you bought beds for all the children?
All the children, yes, not favoring anybody. Everybody got beds. So we were going to be without a bed. So Tara came to me and said something about a water bed. I said, I don't really want a water bed. She goes, well, Mom said she'd sell us this water bed. I was like, I really don't want it. She goes, well, I'll pay for it.
Tara.
Yes.
Tell me about the water bed. You had the discussion with your mother.
I had actually asked my stepfather what he would charge me to buy the bed from him. He said $150. And yes, I had a job at the time, and I agreed to pay that, and then I lost my job. So we haven't been able to pay it back.
I had paid
Yes,
the first
he had
payment.
paid $50 on it.
Because they were asking about it. I was like, well, you know, she's not working, but, you know, out of the goodness of my heart, I figured I would, you know, at least make an effort to pay him back, which was not my liability.
Did you sleep on the bed?
Yeah, we slept on it.
You still have the bed?
We still have the bed. We don't use it, though.
Why not?
The first day we get it home and set it up, there's leaks all over it, so we had to fix it.
So what do you use to sleep on?
Right now we're sleeping on a hide-a couch.
And where is the water bed?
We disassembled it, and it's just sitting there collecting dust.
So you're not using it?
No, ma'am.
Give it back to them, and they'll give you 50 bucks.
Fine. If that's what they wanted, they could have it.
Perfect. And he paid you 50 bucks for it?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm going to take the 50 bucks off the $679 that they owe you, leaving $629, and you can go pick up the water bed. Is that fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $629. Thank you.
Always excuse you. May step out.
Shame that we couldn't come to this agreement a little bit earlier and have to put our families through this.
It isn't so much about the money. It's, you know, the lying, the disrespect, and the not taking responsibility for, you know, your obligations.
We haven't really been able to talk or have a relationship or anything like that.
We tried to help them, and it didn't work out, and it's going to cause a problem forever now.
I'd like for us to just be able to sit down and talk and be able to get along.
She's never going to be able to come back in our house again. That's just the way it's going to be.
Hopefully we can put it behind us and all get along again.
Maybe in the far future.
I'd had enough of everything that went on.
Some relationships end badly.
He had no reason to go over to his house that night.
This one
He punches my driver's side window. He was pulling me out of the vehicle.
ended in violence.
I wanted to tell her I wanted no part of her anymore.
I think she knew that.
She reached out and hit me.
I was clawing his face in self-defense.
She came after me.
Judge Judy.
Ms. Eckert, the defendant used to be your boyfriend, and according to your complaint, he owes you for a variety of things. In 2001, you co-signed for a car for him. According to you, he stopped making payments on the car at some point. You took over those payments. You also took back the car in February of this year. You want him to make the payments to you that you made on the car when the car was in his possession. Then you claim that he damaged 2 cars during an alleged assault on you. One was a car that you were in, and one was the car that you had co-signed for. And you also claim that he assaulted you. The defendant says that he made the car payments, so he doesn't owe you anything for the car, that he returned the car to you in February of this year, and that with regard to the assault, he was merely defending himself. Correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. So let's get to the car. We agree that she co-signed for a car for you in 2001. Is that correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
On what date did you return the car to her, sir? I'm taking your answer. You say you returned the car to her.
Yes, February 8th.
Tell me the circumstances, Mr. Hammers, of your returning the car to her.
I returned the car as I came back from a trip to Arizona because I didn't want to be a part of her life anymore. I'd had enough of everything that went on.
That's a lie.
Just wait, shh, don't speak. When did the two of you part company?
About November 24th.
You took the car with you?
Correct.
Well, then I want you to explain to me in November, December, January, what prompted you in February to return the car to her?
The altercation that took place on January 11th.
Okay, so this assault altercation preceded you giving the car back to her.
Correct.
Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. By the way, Ms. Eckert, what did you do with the car when he gave it back to you?
I had to get it fixed, or the bank was going to sue me, and so I had to get the car fixed, and I have estimates showing that I got it fixed. And then...
Can't you just answer my question?
Yes.
Good.
And then I
start
returned
again.
it to the bank after I fixed it.
What did you have to pay them? Anything?
To return it? No.
So there was no money owed?
No.
How much did you spend to have it fixed?
$474 and some change.
So the car was practically paid off?
No, it was.
No.
We just gotten it. And we're making
September.
payments on it, and we bought it September 29th.
Did you both put down a down payment?
No.
I put down my old car as a down payment.
Just you?
Just myself.
She didn't put down any money? And no money was owed on the car because you both co-signed it, so that nobody's credit is going to be at risk or anything
My
else?
credit it shows repossession.
It does?
Yes.
But the finance company didn't tell you that there was any deficiency?
I had to owe the rest of the money.
Well, they had to sell the car at some
Yeah.
point. Did they do that yet?
I have no idea.
Let me see what you have there.
This is showing that I paid to have the Eclipse fixed, and these are estimates showing that I tried to find the cheapest place.
How much did you pay to have the car fixed?
$474.68.
Well, is that this bill?
Yes.
Did you make all the payments on the car, sir?
I did, Your Honor.
Show me proof that you made the payments.
May I interject? The way I made the payments was, it was in her name, and I handed her the cash. I have Corey Sykes with me today to prove that. A couple of payments that were made, he took me to give her the cash.
I have never seen this guy.
Let me tell you something, Ms. Eckert. I think that you're a little premature in your lawsuit with regard to this car. Ultimately, the bank is going to come after you.
I returned the car February 18th of 2004 and haven't heard nothing from the bank.
Well, then you better call them, madam, because if you have on your credit report a repossession, the bank is going to tell you how much the deficiency is. They gave you $14,000. They're not going to be able to sell it for $14,000. Do you understand? They're going to sell it for substantially less. And you are going to be primarily responsible for that. So don't look to him for $400 to fix it. You have to look to him for thousands.
Well, that's not all that I'm suing him for.
I understand, but that's primarily what you're suing him for.
Yes. I also have a note saying that he's responsible for all damages that he signed.
That's fine. Listen to me. Don't do anything with regard to the car until you have indication from the bank as to what he owes you. Do you understand? What do you want?
I was with him when he went to go drop off the payments. Since that section's done, I just want to let you know you are very beautiful. I've always admired you. Cute. Thank you. Since I'm done, I'll sit down.
I have never seen that guy.
You got it? Do you understand
Yes.
what I'm saying to you? All right. Now, the only part of your lawsuit left is the assault. So when did this alleged assault take place?
January 11th, 2004.
Tell me about it.
I went over to his house because he wanted me to go up to the bar with him, and I didn't want to go to the bar because the girl that I wasn't getting along with, Alicia, was going to be up there. And so I told him, when you get home, call me or text message.
What's a text message for those of us who are electronically challenged?
On a cell phone, you can text message somebody without having to call them. It's just like an email.
Go ahead.
And I said, okay, do you want me to meet you at your house?
Meet him for what?
To get his phone, because his public defender was going to call about...
To get his phone?
To take a message.
Why couldn't he speak to his public defender?
Because he was going out of town.
Where was he going?
To Arizona, as far as I knew.
And his phone doesn't work in Arizona?
No.
You can't get incoming calls in Arizona?
I didn't have the service at that time, though.
Well, if you didn't have the service, what were you giving her your phone for?
I wasn't.
You were?
Yes, you were.
Okay. So, according to you, you were going to his house to get his telephone so that you could take the call from a public defender because he was going to Arizona.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
We were walking back to the Grand Am.
What were you walking back to the Grand Am where she was sitting?
Because I wanted to tell her I wanted no part of her anymore.
I think she knew that.
True.
And later today...
I told her no, that I was going to take her home. She got very upset, and I was going about 35 miles an hour, and she put my car, and it hit reverse, almost went into park, but not quite.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Crystal Eckert says ex-boyfriend Matthew Hammers owes for unpaid car payments, damages to the vehicle, and an assault. Matthew says it was Crystal who assaulted him.
All right. Who did you go to his house with?
Carl Bonnie.
With Carl?
Yes.
Okay. What happened when you got to his house?
Carl stayed in the car. I parked my car down the street, and I walked up. He came downstairs. I got a text message saying, "That's up what you did to Matt." He said, "I don't know what you're talking about."
I don't know what you're saying.
Okay, I got a text message from the girl that I don't like, Alicia, saying, "That's up what you did to Matt." I asked Matt, I said, "What did I do to you?" And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about." And so I was like, "Fine, whatever, I'm done. This is stupid." And I turned around and I walked off. Matt comes around, I start running, and I hear him, and then he puts his arms around me, and I go sliding on the ground. I have scars from when he did it on my arm and on my knee, and I also have pictures when I fell.
And then what happened?
And then I yell for Carl. Carl comes running out, and Carl Bonnie and Matt got into a fist fight, and I went back to my car. I wanted to leave. I didn't want to have no part of anything.
So?
And then after that, I was yelling for Carl, "Come on, let's go, let's go." Carl and Matthew are walking down the street talking.
So they stopped fighting, and now they're buddies?
As far as I knew.
Okay, keep
That's
going.
what it looks like to me in my car.
Keep going.
And so Carl gets in my car, Matthew comes on the driver's side and says, "I want to talk to you, I want to talk to you." I said, "No, I don't want to talk." And he gets all mad and runs up to the Eclipse and punches the Eclipse in the left quarter panel. And then I'm driving off, he comes, he punches my driver's side window of the Grand Am and pulls on it, does not break the window. After he punched the window, he was pulling me out of the vehicle. I was clawing his face as in self-defense because I was halfway out of my window. And one arm was behind me, pulling me out. Carl was trying to get his arm off me. That was the end of the story.
Okay, Carl.
He also called my mom.
Now, Carl, Miss Eckert says that at some point after you got it on with Mr. Hammers, you were walking back to the car together. Is that true?
Yes.
And when you were walking back to the car together, what were you discussing?
He said he wanted to talk to her.
Now, you had just been fighting with him, is that right?
Yes.
But yet you were walking back to the car and you weren't fighting?
No.
How did that come about?
He said he wanted to stop, so I stopped.
Well, tell me exactly what he said. He said, "Let's stop this."
And then we...
Is that what he said? Let's stop
yes.
this? And then he said to you what, Carl?
He said he wanted to talk to Crystal, and I said, "She's not going to talk to you." And I said, "You
Did
need
he
to
say
leave."
what he wanted to talk to her about?
He said he loved her and he was sorry for hitting her.
And then what happened?
And then once we started driving off, he ran up to her car and yelled at her, and then ran back to his car and punched the Eclipse.
What did he yell at her?
He was just calling her names and all that stuff. And
Okay. And he came back to the car?
he ran up to the car and punched the window and grabbed it and started yanking on it, and then started pulling her out of the car. Her head hit the mirror, and I was trying to get his hand off of her. And then all these other people from the same complex there came out and yelled at him to get away, and it stopped from there.
Okay. Now I'll hear you, Mr. Hammers. Let's go back to the 11th of January. Let's hear what you have to say for yourself, sir.
I was at the bar doing karaoke, and I got back home, and Crystal had called my home phone and said that she was downstairs. And I'd gone downstairs to see what she wanted, and she said, I got this text message from Alicia, who was a girl that was at the bar as well. And at this time, Carl and her had dated, and I didn't know, they could have been dating at that time too. I didn't know. And
what part of don't speak don't you understand?
Okay.
Go ahead.
I said, I had no clue about this text message. I don't know what's going on. We exchanged words, and at that point, she reached out and hit me and scratched my neck. And I was like, I don't want any part of this. So I turned around to walk away, and she came after me. She has shoes that she does not tie, and tripped and fell, and she caught my foot when she went down, and I fell as well. From there, she yelled for Carl as I was up helping her up. Carl came out and said, what are you doing to my girl? And ran at me, and he had contacted me, which my back end had hit the eclipse. From there, Carl and I began to wrestle around, and his earring got caught on his sweater. And he said, dude, I don't want to fight you anymore. I underestimated you can fight. And from there, I helped him get his sweater off of his earring. And from that time, we were walking back to the Grand Dam, and I just...
What were you walking back to the Grand Dam where she was sitting?
Because I wanted to tell her I wanted no part of her anymore in my life.
I think she knew that.
True.
Who's Alicia?
Alicia was one of her friends that was at the bar.
Do you know Alicia?
Just through her.
But you've never dated Alicia?
No.
Did you think he had dated Alicia?
No.
Do you think he had talked to Alicia about you?
No.
So what did you care about the text message from Alicia?
Because Alicia told me that she was going to bust my teeth in.
You didn't tell me that. When did she tell you that?
The night before.
Well, why would she say that to you?
Because Matthew told me that Alicia asked Matthew if she wanted to smoke some drugs with her.
And?
Well, then Alicia thought that I was saying a bunch of rumors about her, saying that she's a drug addict, she's no good mother. And so I was like, okay, Alicia wouldn't let me tell her. Alicia told me that she was going to bust my teeth in, so why would I go to the bar?
What'd that have to do with him?
He's the one who told me that Alicia asked him that. And
but she was not angry with you about that. She was angry with you because she said that you were going around telling people she was not a good mother and a drug addict.
Yes, and I don't know where she would get that because me and Alicia, we've been friends since 3rd grade.
Oh, so you went over to Matt's house because you were annoyed with him because you thought that he had told your friend Alicia.
That's not true.
No, no. I mean, it's coming clear. I know I ask enough questions, it will become clear. You weren't going over there to say to him, what's this about? You knew what it was about. It was about you asking him, why did you say something to Alicia about that drug business that I spoke to you about? Because now she's sending me bad text messages, and she says she's going to bust my teeth. Listen to me, you had no reason to go over to his house that night. The only reason you went over to his house that night had to do with the text message from Alicia, not with this baloney about getting his cell phone. Listen to me very carefully. I'm dismissing without prejudice that part of your claim which has to do with the car. Wait until your bank advises you how much the deficiency on the car is after they sell it, and then you sue him for that deficiency, because you are responsible for that, sir. As far as the assault is concerned, I find that you precipitated it by going over there that evening, and that you did, in fact, trip and fall, which is consistent with the injuries. Quiet. The injuries in your photograph to your knee. I'm dismissing that part of your claim with prejudice. Goodbye, and have a happy life.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I think she's just trying to get back at me for, leaving her and life in general.
No, I wasn't angry about that. I was angry that Matthew tackled me.
One time she had said if I messed up her credit, then she was going to mess up my life, so...
I'll be seeing him in court in Omaha.
If she's going to try, she's going to try.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Glenn versus Kelly. Step forward.
23-year-old hospital administrator Megan Glenn is suing her former friend, 25-year-old bartender Megan Kelly, for damaging the transmission on her car. Megan says her drunken friend put the car into reverse while it was in motion.
Miss Glenn, you and Miss Kelly used to be friends, and it is your complaint that you were giving her a ride home because she had too much to drink, and an incident happened in the car, and she took the shift on your car and threw it and damaged your transmission. You had to have the transmission fixed. You want her to pay for that. In her defense, she says that she did not damage your transmission. All she did was put it in neutral. So, when did this happen?
October 18th, 2003.
Where were you?
We had been at her parents' house.
Doing what?
Hanging out.
Had you had anything to drink when you were there?
I think I had 2 or 3 beers to drink that evening.
What about Miss Kelly?
Yes.
You'd been drinking too?
We both had been.
How did you get to her parents' house?
I drove my car to her parents' house.
And Ms. Kelly, how did you get to your
I
parents'
drove my car
house?
as well.
Why didn't you drive home?
My parents didn't think that I should, so I rode home with Megan.
Your parents felt that you had had too much to drink?
Yes.
At that point, did you argue with your parents when you were ready to go home?
I did.
Okay. What happened?
We were on the way to her apartment, and she wanted to go to the bar that her boyfriend was working at so that she could get her keys to go. She was going to take a taxi back to her parents' home and get her car and drive it to her apartment.
And you said?
I told her no, that I was going to take her home. She got very upset, and I was going about 35 miles an hour, and she put my car, and it hit reverse, almost went into park, but not quite. The car came to an abrupt halt, and I pulled over to the side of the road. I yelled at her to get out of the car. She did, and then I went to put my car into reverse, and it was not functioning at all whatsoever, so I yelled at her to get back in the car, and she did, and we drove home from there.
You drove her to her house?
To her parents' house.
Can I see the bill?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Miss Kelly, your version.
She had said that she would drive me up to my boyfriend's work to get my spare set, and that we would actually go back to my parents' house, and I would just drive my car home. And then she changed her mind and decided that we were just going to go back to my apartment, and I said, well, if that's the case...
When did she change her mind?
We'd been in the car about 10 minutes.
You think she was concerned about you?
It's possible.
Go ahead.
I know I shouldn't mess with a vehicle in motion, but I put the car in neutral. You could even hear the engine rev like it was in neutral. It did not come to an abrupt halt. So then she went to put it back in gear, and that could have caused a damage, because I know, a car that's in drive can't go to park or reverse. There's safety features in the car. So from neutral, it could go into pretty much any gear, but from drive, I just bumped it back into neutral. And then she freaked out, jammed it back in gear, and then she stopped the car and told me to get out.
So whose fault do you think it is that her transmission was ruined that evening?
I don't think it was my fault. From drive to neutral.
I'm asking you. Whose fault do you think it was?
I guess it's Megan's fault.
Your fault. Let's say I believe you that what you did was you were drunk and you put your hands on her car and you put the car into neutral while she was driving. But for the fact that you did that, she wouldn't have tried to put a car into a different gear, right?
True.
So you have to pay for it. That's what happens when girls get drunk. They do stupid things. Boys do stupid things when they get drunk, too. But it always is absolutely amazing to me that girls who are supposed to know better will drink to a point where they lose control of their thinking process and they act like idiots.
Okay.
Good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,774.22. Thank you very much.
Parties are excused. Next up.
My parents asked me to take her home because she had been drinking too much, and I hadn't.
It's my car, I was ready to go home. I thought that was fine to drive.
She was definitely intoxicated, just very loud and angry.
I don't really feel like I was fully responsible, but, I guess what the judge says goes.
I witnessed him being verbally abusive to his children. She sat at my kitchen table and just cried.
Rescued from her husband.
He threatened to kill her a couple times.
Then she went back to him.
She helped you survive when your husband was sitting on his fat behind doing nothing. Did I wrap that up in a ball pretty right?
No, ma'am.
Say nothing.
Judge Judy.
I'm not afraid of him. I eat him up.
Known to leave her husband, Mike. Ann claims Mike was abusing Denise and their kids.
Now, did you ever seek the protection of the courts in separating from your husband?
Yes, I did.
And did you tell the courts when you sought that protection that your husband had been abusive to you?
Yes.
And how long have you and your husband been married?
19 years in July.
And how long did you maintain that order of protection in place?
It was good for 30 days, I believe.
Did you extend it beyond the 30 days?
No, I did not.
Why not?
Because we...
No, don't look over there. Don't look over there. Don't look up here. Look here.
Because we were working things out. He obtained an attorney, and I didn't need any protection. He was staying away, and we were fine.
You were working things out in order to get a divorce. He had maintained an, he had retained an attorney. At that time, did you have an attorney?
No, ma'am.
You didn't have an attorney because you couldn't afford an attorney?
Yes.
Let's be very careful what you say to me. I'm not looking at him yet. I'll get to him in a minute.
Okay.
Good. Now, did there come a time when you went to the plaintiff's home after you consented to either a temporary or a final custody order which gave away 50% or a substantial part of the custody of your children to their grandparents? The answer is yes or no.
Yes.
And did you, in fact, have a court proceeding where you consented to the grandparents having a substantial portion of time with the children?
I believe so. I didn't understand the paperwork. That's why
Good.
she was helping me.
Good. So you didn't understand what was going on? Is
Yes.
that in court?
Yes.
And your husband at that time, put your papers down, and your husband at that time had an attorney?
Uh-huh.
And you did not?
No, ma'am.
So you were grateful when the plaintiff volunteered to, let us say, give you money for an attorney?
I was overwhelmed.
You were overwhelmed?
That she wanted to help me out like that.
Well, you were desperate. Would you say desperate is a better word?
Yes.
Yes. Then there came a time, I assume, that you fell behind in mortgage payments. Is that right?
Yes.
And at that time, in July, August, and September, I want you to listen to my question very carefully, because we're not talking about 10 years ago, we're talking about less than a year ago. July, August, and September. How much money was your husband giving you to support your 4 children?
None.
Not you. You were working.
Oh,
Now,
in September, he started making payments to me because he finally got a job.
well, what was he doing in July and August?
I don't know. We didn't have contact.
He was eating.
He was living with his parents.
What kind of work does he do?
He's a diesel mechanic.
So he can work at anything. He's a healthy man, can work construction, can drive a taxi,
Yes,
he can
ma'am.
pick up cans in the street. He could do something to earn money, right? When you have 4 children, that's what you do. You don't sit in your parents' house and watch TV for 3 months without giving your children money to live on, right?
Correct.
But he did. Nothing. She helped you, right?
Yes, she obtained a lawyer for me.
She helped
Yes,
you
she did.
survive
Yes, she did.
when your husband was sitting
But I
on
was
his
working
fat
2
behind
jobs.
doing nothing.
I was working
You were
2
working
jobs.
2
I
jobs.
was
You were
doing
working. Listen to me.
fine.
You
I
were
was making
listen,
mortgage payments.
Listen to me. You were working 2 jobs to support yourself and your 4 children, and you still, according to you, fell behind in your mortgage payments. According to you, and you still didn't have money for an attorney. Your husband, on his fat behind, was sitting at his parents' house. He had money for an attorney. He retained an attorney. He didn't give you money, but he had money to give a lawyer, and he allowed the house to fall behind in its mortgage payments. So far, did I wrap that up in a ball pretty right?
That's correct.
Good.
No, didn't.
Say nothing. I got you. I've gotten you for 25 years. I've never met you before, sir, but I got you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ann Machado says former friend Denise Faulkner owes for a loan to leave her abusive husband.
The husband who couldn't afford to give you a dime in June, July, and August found the money to retain a lawyer, right?
Correct.
And the only one who helped you at that time is your friend.
Yes.
Is that
ma'am.
right?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is not related to you by blood, right?
No.
Do you have a family?
I'm married. I've been married for 10 years. I have 2 kids, 5 and 9.
Right. Do you live on a trust fund?
No.
Do you work?
I'm a stay-at-home mom right now until my
So-
daughter goes to school.
So the money that you gave her was really family money, money that was earned by your husband outside the home.
And money
right?
we've saved for years.
And money you've saved. You got it, Miss Faulkner?
Yes, I do.
You know where your friends are?
Yes, I do, ma'am.
Okay, good. Is your husband working now?
Yes, he is.
When did you reconcile with him?
January 26th of 2004.
Now, I'd like to know the discussion that you had with your husband about repaying the plaintiff for the $3,133 that she laid out to bring your mortgage payments and your other utilities current. What discussion, if any, did you have with your husband?
We didn't discuss it because it was a gift.
No. No, listen to me. You never had that discussion
No,
with
we
Prince
didn't.
Charming?
No.
No. Is that because you're afraid of him?
No, ma'am.
Really? Mm-hmm. Good. Because I tell you something, I'm not afraid of him. I eat him up for breakfast.
Okay.
You're never supposed to live with a person that you're afraid of, Ms. Faulkner. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand completely.
If you live with somebody that you're afraid of with cause, then you're a fool. And you're a bad mother. Because if you live with somebody who's a bully and intimidating, that's what your children see. I don't live in your house, but I assume that you're not a nut.
No, I am not. I'm very balanced.
Well, if you're very balanced,
I'm a
and
great
finally, after 19 years, you decided that you had had enough and sought the protection of the court and said that your husband was abusive and you needed an order of protection, I assume you weren't lying. So all I'm telling you is, nobody is supposed to live with somebody that is abusive or frightening.
Yes.
We understand each other?
Yes.
You owe her the money. Now, you want to tell me about this vandalizing of the family truck. You want to get into that with me?
My husband would.
Oh, I'd love to hear from him.
Okay.
Vandalizing the truck. Let me hear. When?
Approximately in October.
October, approximately October.
Yes,
October
ma'am.
has 31 days.
I don't have the police report on that part on me. I have the
You don't have
pictures.
what?
I have evidence proving of situations that were coming up before the actual damage to the truck happened.
I don't. Listen to me.
Okay.
Give me a date that your truck was vandalized and what proof that you have, non-hearsay proof that the plaintiff had any dealings with your truck.
Well, ma'am, how about that?
How about giving me the date that your truck was vandalized?
October 19th.
October 19th.
Yes, ma'am.
2003.
Yes, ma'am.
Where was your truck vandalized on
It was
October
parked in the front of my father and them's house, ma'am.
It was parked in front of?
My father and them's house.
Oh. What time had it been parked there?
Overnight, ma'am. I get off work, and I'm home about 12:30 at night.
And what kind of damage was done to the truck?
I have pictures here, ma'am.
I'd like to take a look at them.
There's also events leading up to that, ma'am.
Listen to me very, very carefully, sir.
Okay.
This is my space.
Yes, ma'am.
You will answer my questions.
Yes, ma'am.
In a very tight, controlled way.
Okay.
Somebody threw acid on your truck.
Yes,
some
ma'am.
sort of acid on your truck.
Yes, ma'am.
And I see damaged it severely.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. October 19th, 2003.
Okay.
First, let's have the police report.
I don't have that. Like I said, I left that at home, and that can be gotten if it needs to be called for. Yes,
Is there
ma'am.
something wrong with you? Where
No,
did you
ma'am,
think
there's
you were
not.
coming today, sir? If you have a police report from October 19th, when you reported this to the police and you left it at home, that's the only thing that I'm going to see. That's an official document. Other than that, do you have a witness who saw her vandalizing your truck?
No, ma'am, I don't.
Good.
Police
That's all I have. That's all I have to hear, sir. Do you have a witness who saw her vandalizing your truck? Do you have a confession that she made to the police of her vandalizing your truck?
No, ma'am.
Your counterclaim's dismissed. Sit down.
Ma'am, okay. Do you have
Good.
anything that shows
Did you
as
hear
far
what
as
I
her
said?
abuse to her,
Did
though?
you hear what I said?
Yes, ma'am, I sure did. But
Good.
did you
Then I
see
want
this
you
right
to
here?
close your mouth.
Okay, without
You
proof,
owe her
you don't want this.
$5,000. Judgment for the plaintiff. Your counterclaim is dismissed. That's all. No good deed goes unpunished, madam.
Parties are excused. Step up.
He threatened to kill her a couple times. We've got police reports stating it, neighbors that witnessed it for years, and everybody is afraid of Mike.
She wanted to be with my wife. Her whole thing was she wanted the house to go to foreclosure so she could buy it.
He's nuts. He is whacked. It's all control. He'll make up whatever he has to back up his story.
How controlling and interfering she is. She's the one that wanted me to leave my husband.
I don't like him for not being nice to Denise and his kids. He's a rotten human being.
I'm more submissive, and she's been controlling all our lives.
I just wish the best for my girlfriend. I hope she does get the nerve up again to leave and claim her life and give her kids the future that they should have.
Pulling hair, scratching eyes.
2 women, 1 vendetta.
She was choking me, said, I'm gonna kill you. She's a bad person. She does bad things.
Have you been cited for any other assault?
No, ma'am. Yes, she has. Right here. I totally forgot about that.
How many times have you been cited for assault?
Just once.
Mary Sandy Saturday says she was arrested because of false charges Taquana Colvin made to police.
How many times have you been taken into custody for assault?
None.
With the exception of this time?
Yeah, with the exception of that one.
Can I say something?
Mm-hmm.
Including myself, two other people filed protection orders against Taquana in 2003.
And they were
Can
dismissed.
I see them, please?
All for the same thing.
Can I see them, please?
No, that's not true.
Can
I
I
speak,
take a look?
Judge?
What?
Can I speak?
Sure.
Okay.
Ma'am, Sandy is saying that Taquana does all this and all that. This has been a big ongoing thing with our cousin.
Listen to me. I have a
Yes.
who sought a protective order against you.
An ex-boyfriend.
I don't care, but he sought a protective order.
Okay.
I have a...
Yes, and they were both dismissed.
They were both dismissed.
Listen to me. You have a temper. I just heard it.
Okay.
Okay, so I have one incident here that caused this protective order. It was ultimately dismissed.
Yes.
Okay, now let's get to the second one. The second cause of action that you have is that these two ladies came to your place of business and you told your boss that there was a protective order because there was a temporary protective order in place. He asked you to leave. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you did leave.
Yes, ma'am.
And then you filed a violation of the temporary protective order.
Yes, ma'am. Can I tell you what happened?
Sure.
When we
No. I want her to tell me what happened.
I left the bar manager.
How many bars are there in Cincinnati?
Many.
So how do you think it came about that you chose the one where she was employed to go into with your mother?
It's not that I chose the one that she was employed at. I live on that street. My business is on that street, and I attend that bar several times a week. Mary chose to get a job at that bar knowing that I had already been living on that street, had already been owning a business on that street. She got the job. Did she have proof of how long she had been working at that bar?
Just a second. Don't ask me. You're showing your temper, honey.
Okay.
I'm going to just let you go. You're going to bury yourself. On what basis do you claim that she violated the protective order?
Before the bar manager came over to ask me if I had a restraining order against her or whatever, I agreed. I told him, yes, I did have a temporary restraining order against her. He said, okay, that's fine. When you finish with your drink, would you please leave? I said, sure, I will leave when I'm finished with my drink.
Why didn't you just leave?
Because I was in the middle of my drinks as well.
But
I was with my
when you
relatives.
file a protective order against somebody, that means...
I was there first, Your Honor.
Be quiet. Be quiet. When you file a protective order against someone, Miss Colvin, it means that you're afraid of them, right?
Supposedly, yes.
What do you mean, supposedly, yes?
That you're supposed to be afraid of this person. Yes.
Right.
But I was with my...
Sit down. So I would assume that when you filed, since you say you're a normal person, that when you filed a protective order against her, you filed it because you were afraid of her.
Right.
Well, then, I wouldn't wait till I finished my drink, even though I was there first. I would say to my mother, I don't want there to be any trouble. Let's go. You, on the other hand, decided to stay because you were there first. And your store is on that street, and you had a right to be. Well, that's what you just told me. You said I was there first.
I was there first, but I was going to leave like the bar manager asked me when I finished my drink.
He shouldn't have to ask you.
Okay.
Don't you understand what I just said? He shouldn't have to ask you,
because
madam.
I'm supposed to be afraid, right?
Let me tell you something. I believe that she filed these protective orders against you, and I believe she filed them maliciously. And I believe she knew about filing protective orders because she had already been served with a few herself in her lifetime, so she knew exactly what kind of trouble you could get into. Now, is the assault that you are claiming the assault when you went over to give her back her $50? That's your counterclaim, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, that's baloney. Because that girl whose foul, fresh mouth left 2 messages on that machine did not go over to make peace the next day. No way. So your counterclaim is dismissed.
Yes, ma'am.
And I believe that she did file these cases against you maliciously. You were ultimately fired from your job. You're seeking $3,000 in damages. Now, my question to you is, do you believe that you acted appropriately in all of your dealings with the defendant?
Very appropriately.
Okay. Put your hand down. Better teach your daughter a little self-control. She needs it. Tell me about your job. When did you lose your job?
Let me tell you what they did. when they talking about they was going to just leave after the drink, no, they put up a fight to stay in the bar. They put up a fight. And
what did they say?
They was talking to the manager, talking about it's a public place. They had the right to come and drink this and this and that. And I get to work at 6 o'clock. About 7:15, they were still in there. And then three police officers came to my job, got me from out the bar, and arrested me. Taquana told them I threatened to kill her.
You mean at the bar? At the bar.
And then a few days later, or the next day, her and her mother, she get it from her mother. Her and her mother requested a meeting with the bar manager and the owner to get me fired.
Is that when you were fired 3 days later?
Yes.
But you were removed from the bar by the police?
I was physically removed and arrested.
What?
She was removed from the bar because she went back by the register and turned around and faced me and my party and did this, and at the same time said that you were dead.
You shouldn't have been there.
Yes, ma'am.
You were annoying her. Okay. You and your mother. And whoever else you were with. You had no right to be there. Saturday is seeking compensation for having her falsely arrested and for losing her job in the amount of $3,000. I'm awarding her $3,000.
Thank you.
You better learn to watch yourself. Your counterclaim's dismissed.
Yes, ma'am.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. That's all.
Everything that girl said was a lie. Everything. Her life is a lie.
We don't want Mary to call our house or even be, talking about her in the street. You know, she won the money. That's all she wants. She needs to let it go.
This should be the end of it.
Her mother is the devil. She's the devil advocate. I'm grown. I didn't bring my mother into this. She brought my mother into this because she made false charges against my mother, too.
She knew that I was coming over there like we agreed on the telephone, and I was approaching the building to give her the money.
Taquana got what she deserves. She has done this to other people, and I'm the only one who took it this far, but she got what she deserved.